Masuk, masuk, masuk.
nggak on, maka Mbak Mira dan Mbak Mita yang nanti akan membacakan. Jika kesulitan sekali, nggak usah dibacakan terlalu detik. Kan itu hanya membaca ini apa CV. Jika ini ya.
Oke, Boy.
Buat itu.
Udah masuk. Nanti berarti dia
Buat
jadi hostnya.
LKD ya.
Good afternoon. Hello, all participants. Thank you for joining our webinar today. I will introduce myself before we start the webinar. My name is Mira Mutiani. I will be the host for today. The webinar will be held 3.5 hours. It will be start at 1 p.m. I have an information here that our participants come from many countries, so not only from Indonesia. So I want to say hello to our participants. Hello, our participants from Pakistan. Are you here? Okay, and hello, participant from Sudan. Hello,
Hello.
from Aussie, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and the other countries. Nice to see you in the webinar. Once again, I want to say thank you for joining our webinar today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First, let us thank to Allah the Almighty who has given us mercy and blessing so we can meet together in this webinar in a good health. Honorable Head of the Center for Human Health Resource Education, Ministry of Health Republic of Indonesia, Honorable Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, Vice Director, invited speakers, Head of the Center Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, Head of Department, Head of Study Programs, all webinar participants and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is our pleasure to welcome all you here in the international webinar, Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, with the title Utilization of Local Resources for Health Improvement and Community Involvement in the New Normal. Before we start, please, I will read the rule for webinar. Okay, please wait. I will read the rules of the webinar. Okay, I will read the rules of the webinar. The duration of the webinar is 3.5 hours. Participants can join the webinar via Zoom meeting room. We only provided 500 participants in the Zoom meeting room, and the rest can join by live streaming YouTube channel Media Poltekkes Bandung. Participant ID must be using a real name. Also, participants are requested to deactivate the microphone during the session. And participants can ask the interview via Pigeonhole using the link. Yeah. like this link. And then by writing down your name, your country, and ask speaker 1 or 2, and so on. Then write the questions. Attendance list will be provided after the opening. And the last one, evaluation form will be provided after the discussion. Okay, thank you. That's the rule for the webinar. Okay, now I will read the agenda for today. Our today program will cover listen to National Anthem Indonesia Raya and playing a video Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. And then continue with the first speech from the committee chair's report, the second speech from Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, third speech from Board for Development and Environment Human Resource of Health, Ministry of Health Republic of Indonesia. Then continue with the core webinar event, which will present for speakers, followed by the discussion. First speaker comes from Pakistan. The second speaker comes from Sudan. The third speaker comes from Indonesia, and the last one comes from Australia. And then at the end, we will present the work of our outstanding students and closing. So to open the webinar, let us together say Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we are listening to National Anthem Indonesia Raya. Please to all participants to sit upright position. Okay, thank you for listening. Then, to introduce our Center of Excellence, we would like to present the video of Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung.
Center of Excellence Bandung Health Polytechnic proudly present Center of Excellence for Applied Science and Technology for Health Polytechnic is a research center in Health Polytechnic independently and in collaboration with other institutions that carry out applied health research activities. These are some of our products. Development strategies of Center of Excellence. First, institutional strengthening, such as decree, vision, mission, guidelines, roadmap, SOP, building and exhibition venue. Second, research and development and also application of research. They are new research or strengthening of existing research. Third, human resource development, including increasing research skills, production skills, marketing skills, and also training seminars. Fourth, partnership network development, including research and marketing cooperation for domestic and international products. The last, dissemination of research for national, international seminar and product exhibition, and also COE special journal. Membership of Center of Excellence are Department of Medical Laboratory Technology, Department of Environmental Sanitation, Department of Nutrition, Department of Nursing, Department of Pharmacy, Department of Dental Health, Department of Midwifery, Department of Health Promotion, Bogor Nursing Study Program, Bogor Midwifery Study Program, and Karawang Midwifery Study Program. Center of Excellence is one of the organizations that focused on developing and research about science and technology and utilization the local material. Institutional characteristic, they are competitive advantage, strategic value, transfer of technology and knowledge, strong and sustainable institutions, become a national reference, world class, and being the pride of the nation. Field of development of Center of Excellence Bandung Health Polytechnic is to be the leading center for the utilization of local materials to improving health degree and community empowerment. The Center of Excellence does not only innovate the use of local products. The product will then be displayed at the exhibition to introduce the innovation product. The Center of Excellence, Bandung Health Polytechnic, actively exhibits the product in the international exhibition or symposium. The institutional synergy in higher education is to capable in the global competitiveness that involved institution, higher education and training, technology readiness, and innovation. In the future, the Center of Excellence is expected to be able to support a nation that is competitive in the world globally.
Okay, all participants, thank you for watching our video Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Elanda Fikri, SKM MKes, as the committee chair of the webinar. To Mr. Fikri, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First, let us pray and thanks to Allah. On this day, we can meet online in the Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung event, international webinar. Excellency, Board for Development and Empowerment Human Resources of Health, Ministry of Health, Indonesia. Respectable Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, Dr. Osman Sarif, the Honorable, all of the speakers, academicians, and all of the participants, International Webinar Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. I want to report this webinar followed by 3,140 participants from Sabang to Merauke, and also from foreign countries such as Sudan, Pakistan, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. This is a challenge for me, given the mandate to become chairman of the Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. The first program I designed was an international webinar. This event is the first international webinar held by Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. This international webinar is designed to be different from other webinars. 4 speakers, Dr. Kaisar Sakil from Pakistan, Professor Hatil Hasim El Kamali from Sudan, Dr. Judiono from Indonesia, and Dr. Febi Dwi from Australia made this webinar even lively. At the end of the speaker, the presentation session will be discussed by someone familiar as Yasir Amanene, a journalist or news presenter of Kompas TV. He will discuss from his point of view, theory or others. 3 exemplary students as a supplement with the mission of local materials are interesting things to attend. We presented the theme utilization of local resources for health improvement and community empowerment in the new normal. It's relevant with excellency of Poltekkes Bandung, local resources and community empowerment, or we call Balok Daya Mas, bahan lokal dan pemberdayaan masyarakat. Besides the webinar, in this activity, there is also virtual dissemination of local material product by lecturer of the Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. So that in this one event, 2 program of Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung can be complete. Thank you all for the committee and IT team, which I cannot mention one by one. Without you, this event might not running well. I always encourage my team with Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung memang unit kecil. Bukan berarti kecil dari segala hal. Tetap solid karena kerja tim adalah kunci membangun Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung juara dan mengudara. That's all I can say. Hopefully it can add to knowledge of the audience who attend this event. Enjoy this webinar. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Fikri, for the first speech. Yeah. Before we start to the second speech, I want to say hello first to our audience from the YouTube live streaming. Hello, yeah. I know that more than 1,000 participants live in YouTube now. Okay, stay tuned. Yeah. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Insinyur Haji Osman Syarif, MKM, as Director of Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. To Dr. Osman, the floor is yours.
Baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang terhormat Bapak Kepala Pusat Pendidikan SDM Kesehatan, Badan PPSDM, Kementerian Kesehatan. Terima kasih sudah mewakili Bapak Kepala Badan PPSDM. Yang kami hormati para pembicara dari Australia, Sudan, Pakistan, dan Indonesia. Yang kami hormati pembahas dari Kompas TV. Yang saya hormati para wakil direktur, para kepala pusat, khususnya Kepala Pusat Pengembangan Pendidikan, para ketua jurusan, ketua program studi, dan seluruh pengelola di jajaran Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung. Yang saya banggakan, para mahasiswa berprestasi Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung, yang saya hormati Ketua Pengelola UI, Pak Dr. Fikri, dan seluruh panitia webinar internasional yang berbahagia, dan seluruh peserta webinar dimanapun berada. Pertama-tama, marilah kita panjatkan puji dan syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa. Kita semua sampai dengan hari ini masih diberikan kekuatan, kesehatan, kebahagiaan, tentunya di tengah-tengah masalah penyakit COVID-19 ini, yang khususnya masih terus meningkat, khususnya di Indonesia. Pada hari ini, alhamdulillah kita semua, semoga para narasumber, seluruh peserta webinar dalam keadaan sehat walafiat. Amin ya robbal alamin. Hadirin yang saya hormati, pada kesempatan ini izinkan saya menyampaikan terima kasih besar-besarnya kepada Bapak Kepala Pusat Pendidikan SDM Kesehatan yang pada kesempatan ini mewakili Bapak Kepala Badan PPSDM Kementerian Kesehatan Republik Indonesia atas kesediaannya untuk menjadi keynote speaker sekaligus membuka acara webinar internasional ini di tengah-tengah kesibukan beliau yang tentunya sangat luar biasa. Sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Bapak Dr. Sugianto. I would like to thank and to welcome speaker from Griffith University Australia, Dr. Pebi Dwi Harmadi, PhD, Profesor Hatil Hasim El Kamali from Omdurman Islamic University Sudan, Dr. Kaisal Sakil from the Islamic University Bahawalpur, Pakistan, Dr. Yudhyono MPS from Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung, and from Kompas TV, Bapak Yasser Nene Ama. Thank you for your willingness to be speakers of this webinar event. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang saya hormati, perlu saya menyampaikan bahwa Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung sudah memiliki pusat unggul yang mengambil tema tentang pemanfaatan bahan lokal dalam rangka meningkatkan derajat kesehatan masyarakat dan pemberdayaan. Tentunya tadi pada video sudah ditampilkan, sudah banyak sekali produk-produk yang dihasilkan oleh UI Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung ini, dan tadi sudah ditampilkan dari berbagai jurusan, antara lain dari farmasi, kemudian dari gizi, dari teknologi laboratorium medik, dan tentunya semuanya memiliki produk yang berasal dari bahan lokal, dan ini semua ditujukan untuk meningkatkan kesehatan masyarakat dan pemberdayaan masyarakat. Namun demikian, terkait dengan produk-produk ini masih banyak kendala-kendala, dan produk ini baru dipergunakan internal Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung dan belum di produk secara massal. Semoga pada kesempatan webinar ini mendapat masukan-masukan terutama dari Bapak Kepala Pusat Pendidikan Tenaga Kesehatan dan tentunya dari para narasumber bagaimana memasarkan produk lokal, produk bahan lokal yang diproduksi oleh kami dan bisa masuk secara industri atau bisa diproduksi secara massal. Mudah-mudahan pada kesempatan webinar ini juga para peserta mendapatkan ilmu yang bermanfaat dari para narasumber sehingga bisa menambah wawasan kita semua terkait dengan pengembangan bahan lokal dalam rangka untuk meningkatkan derajat kesehatan masyarakat dan pemberdayaan masyarakat. Pada kesempatan yang berbahagia ini, kami memohon kepada Bapak Kepala Pusat Pendidikan Tenaga Kesehatan untuk membuka acara webinar ini, dan pada kesempatan ini kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada panitia, kepada Pusat Pengembangan Pendidikan yang sudah memfasilitasi acara webinar internasional ini, dan kepada seluruh peserta webinar yang berbahagia, mudah-mudahan mendapat manfaat dari kegiatan ini. Dalam kesempatan ini saya cukupkan demikian, dan lebih kurangnya mohon maaf yang sebesar-besarnya. Selamat berwebinar, mudah-mudahan menjadi berkah untuk semuanya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Osman Sharif. Then we will continue. I would now like to call Head of the Center for Human Health Resources Education, Ministry of Health, Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Sugianto, as the keynote speakers and officially open the webinar. To Dr. Sugianto, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ya, Salam, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, may peace be upon us. To the honored Director of Polytechnic Kemenkes Bandung, with all the staff, the international and Indonesian guest speakers, all participants. First of all, let us be grateful to Allah so we could attend this international webinar. I appreciate the Director of Polytechnic Kemenkes Bandung and the entire staff who have initiated this webinar. And according with the theme, this webinar, I would like to talk about the policy of Ministry of Health related to the use of local materials to improve health degrees and community empowerment in the new normal era post the COVID-19 pandemic. Please help to the host to show the PowerPoint.
Okay, please, the board, the PowerPoint of the.
Okay, tak tolong host.
Okay, okay. Wait, sir, it's still loading. Okay, please wait a minute. Okay, the PowerPoint presentation will be start soon. Okay, please, the board. Okay. I'm sorry, sir, for this inconvenience. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, slideshow, please.
Sure.
Yeah. Could you please slideshow? This one. Okay. According to this data from Indonesia COVID-19 Task Force, based on 13th of August 2020, there are more than 128,000 people confirmed positive, and more than 83,000 people recuperated, and more than 5,000 people died. The data show a higher number of cases increasing every day in our country in Indonesia. Next slide. Based on this data, shows that among 34 provinces, West Java is the fourth rank for COVID-19 cases, following East Java, DKI Jakarta, and South Sulawesi. The highest incident cases of COVID-19 is among 30 to 45 years old. However, the higher mortality rate occur in people aged 60 or above. Among those COVID-19 cases, non-communicable disease become the most comorbidities. Those big three diseases are cancer, heart disease, and hypertension. This all become our attention. Age, especially elder people, and comorbidities can weaken immunity and worsen the condition. Thus, increase mortality rate. Next slide. New normal is an accelerated phase in handling COVID-19 in health, social, and economic sectors. President Joko Widodo said that people must begin to live with the coronavirus since the virus has not yet been eliminated and the vaccine has not been found in the near future. Indonesia must remain productive, but pay more attention to the health protocols in order to prevent COVID-19 transmission. There are 5 phases of protocol on developing a productive and safe community. Phase 1, reducing the restriction in the district or city that have a green classification. No cases yet. Phase 2, opening 9 sectors that have a low risk. Phase 3, selecting provinces according to WHO criteria to carry out adaptation of new normal. Phase 4, implementing adaptation of new normal in the tourist sites. And phase 5, implementing adaptation of new normal in education sectors. Every phase needs feedback in precondition, timing, priority, coordination between center and local government, and monitoring evaluation. However, health protocol become first priority in every phase. Next slide. To prepare new normal era, next slide, to prevent COVID-19 transmission, several protocols have been developed. The public needs to assess the technical readiness and impact on the COVID-19 effective reproduction rate to provide input to the government. To avoid the worst impact of COVID-19 and along with the change of health paradigm, it is better to do more preventive promotive than curative rehabilitative. We need health services with higher quality of promotion and prevention to be easily accessed by society. And everyone must implement health promotion, self-awareness in new normal era. Wear face masks, physical distance, washing and hand using soap, healthy diet, exercise, no smoking, and improving health literacy. Next slide. Higher education institutions are expected to support COVID-19 combats through innovation in Tridharma perguruan tinggi. Those Tridharma perguruan tinggi as the foundation of universities' work performance and center of excellent development, consists of education, learning and teaching aspect, research and innovation aspect, as well as community service aspect. In order to significantly improve health research to overcome COVID-19, It is very important to orchestrate well-organized collaboration between academics, researchers, professional medical personnel, and investors. This corresponds to the Indonesia President's guidance that all researchers, including those in universities, are encouraged to find and produce vaccine to combat COVID-19. COVID-19 effective medicines, vaccines, and therapies should be produced massively to meet domestic needs and exported internationally. Next slide. The process of establishing Center of Excellence or PUIPK in Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung has begun from the submission of proposal in 2018 to the increasing score from 868 today. This is the big top second of Poltekkes Bandung. All of this progress are the result of hard work from everyone in Poltekkes Kemenkes and one of its proof of benefit to the community. It is expected that the Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung will continue to develop and become a home for innovation in the area of local material. Next slide. Upon the importance of health services to the community with non-communicable diseases in this pandemic period, I sincerely hope that the PUIPK Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung will be proactive to identify and report, to monitor and provide feedback for the development of creative, innovative health policy and program, intervention according to local specifics based on research, advocate to local government and to the head of region, and managing the society to optimize health and economy. In addition, it is also expected that PUIPK can help the development of health workers so that they can provide continuum of care throughout the life cycles, including homes, communities, health centers, and referral places, so as to reduce the death. Next slide. I really appreciate the achievement of Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung in creating product from local material who are beneficial to the community in the midst of this pandemic. By sending the students as health volunteers to the villages to provide health education about COVID-19 and new normal. Poltekkes Kemenkes will help the government program in the breaking the chain of COVID-19 transmission. This will also produce the high quality and sensible health workers in the future. Lastly, don't be careless. Make it a habit to always wear masks and physical distancing to prevent COVID-19 transmission. This is our responsibility. If not us, who else will take care? Thank you very much. And officially, on behalf of Ministry of Health, this event is officially open. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, big applause.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Sugianto, officially opening the webinar for today. Okay.
Thank you.
Also,
Great success
yeah.
to the committee, to the Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, now we continue to the next agenda. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna start the core of our webinar today. So, to start the session, let me invite Ibu Surmita, Sarjana Gizi MKes, to moderate and lead the first, this webinar. But before she starts, I will read her CV first. Okay. Ibu Surmita Sarjana Gizi MKes. She was born on West Sumatra, 9th of March 1985. She graduated from Nutrition and Health, Gajah Mada University, Yogyakarta in 2007. And he graduated from a master degree, Basic Medical Science, Universitas Pajajaran in 2013. Now, she is a lecturer in Nutrition Department Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, start from 2009 until now. Her research interests including obesity, stunting, sport nutrition, functional food, and dietary assessment. To Ibu Surmita, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Miss Mira, for the nice introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, the honorable participant. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. Today, Thursday, 13 August 2020, Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung proudly present international webinar Utilization of Local Resources for Health Improvement and Community Empowerment in the New Normal. My name is Surmita and I will be your moderator today. I'm amazed that we have so many audience. More than 3,000 participants come to join us. From Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Sudan, Pakistan, and also the other country. This international webinar is designed to be different from the other webinar. We have four speakers from Pakistan, Sudan, Indonesia, and Australia. They will share about local resources and also community empowerment related to the current issue, new normal. This is a panel webinar. Each speaker will present their presentation about 20 minutes. At the end of the speaker, we will continue with two discussions. They will discuss from their point of view, theory, phenomenon, or others. If you have questions to the speaker, just send your question to the pigeonhole link that have been shared by the committee. I will read some questions to get answer from our speaker. So don't hesitate. I will wait for your question. Now let's start to the main event. The first speaker, Dr. Kaisal Shakil from the Islamia University of Bahawalpur, Pakistan. Dr. Kaisal Shakil, have you joined with us right now? Yeah, I will read his CV. Dr. Kaisal Shakil was born on February 14, 1987. He got bachelor degree in agriculture at the University of Agriculture Faisalabad in 2008. He also continued to master degree in plant pathology at the University of Agriculture Faisalabad in 2010. He graduated for a doctoral program in plant pathology at Guangzhou Agricultural University, Wuhan, China, in 2016. Now, his position as assistant professor in plant pathology department at the University of Agriculture and Environmental Science, the Islamia University of Bahawalpur, Pakistan. He is active in attending conference, workshop, training, and also as a presenter in some seminar. He has many publications, at least 42 publications in international journal, conference paper, abstract publication report, and other. Today, he will share for us about herbal remedy, would it work for COVID cure? So, would you please join me in welcoming Dr. Kaisal Shakil? Dr. Kaisal Shakil, the floor is yours. Sorry, Dr. Kaisar Sakil, we can hear your voice.
Still unmute.
Dr. Kaisar Sakil, sorry. We cannot hear your voice. Maybe your mic still mute. Dr. Kaisar Sakil. Can you take off your headset, maybe?
Hello,
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear your voice right now.
Wait,
Please,
let me
Dr. Kaisar Sakil, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the trouble. I didn't know that my hand free was not working. Thank to all the organizers for inviting me to this webinar. Today, the topic of presentation is herbal remedy. Would it work for COVID cure or not? As you all know, my name is Dr. Kasishkil. I am from Pakistan, working in Islamia University of Bahawalpur as assistant professor. First of all, I would like to uh, next slide. Can you show the next slide? I would like to share this that all the data I am presenting is from other publishers. I just collected this data for this webinar so that I can share some useful information with all the audience. Next slide, please. Here are some important facts. Maybe all the participants know these, that this COVID-19 disease was first reported from Wuhan, China. Luckily, I am graduated from this country and same city, so I was more concerned about this disease. There are few facts that in maybe January 5, this was first outbreak news by WHO, while in case of China, this was first reported in December 2019. And second report about the genetic sequence was published by China same month at 12th of January. Then there was, maybe you people know that there was concern how it is going to transmit. So it was evidence shows that human to human transmission is more important in the COVID-19. And after few days, it was reported that about 7,818 cases are confirmed regarding this, those people who are already infected with this COVID-19. Next slide, please. This picture just shows how it was transmitted from, as you all people know, that the major reason or major carrier was the bat, and everybody asked that they are eating bat, that's why it is transferring to humans and like that. So there can be two most important hosts in the case of COVID-19. One is the bat, another is the pangolin. But in other reports, there are some people says that pangolin is an intermediate host that transmit the COVID-19 virus. So you can see that it has three subtypes, A, B, C. All people maybe know that. And from human, it is airborne and can transfer from human to human. So its transmission was basically from bat, and then it was reported that the genetic sequence of the COVID is almost 88% from the bat-derived viruses and 99% identical from the penguin-derived viruses. So most still, up till now, this information is important that that is the primary host from where the COVID has transferred to the human. Next slide, please. Here are the just a close look at the more important symptoms of this disease. So we can say that three are the more important symptoms: fever, cough, and shortness of the breath. Some patients are more important that they lost the taste and smell. Remaining nausea, headache, confusion, these are the intermixed, you can say, the symptoms. Not important that sometimes they are not easy to identify that this is COVID or not COVID. But the four things are important. If you have fever, if you have cough, 82% chances, and if you have a shortness of the breath, 31% chances that you are infected with COVID. And most important thing that most of people relate to the COVID was the loss of taste and smell. That is 59% chances that you are suffering from COVID-19. Next, please. Here are some facts that this shows that around 18.8 million cases are currently confirmed cases, means 8.8 million people are infected all over the world. This much people are infected with this virus, and about 7,8,000 people have already died because of this pandemic. The rest is the just information that America, Europe, Central Asia, this pandemic has spread all over the world, and it is causing huge human losses. Next case, next slide. So important thing, that's why we are here, why we are now gathered here to discuss is that what can we do? What are the things that we can use to avoid this disease or cure this disease? So we have everybody know that the information shows us keep the social distancing, isolation. You can go to quarantine. You can use the prevention. You can. Everybody know that it is said that prevention is better than cure. The most important thing is that we can have a vaccine, but still nobody is unable to prepare a vaccine. Just last day we have a report from Russia that they have developed a vaccine. Let's see how much it works or not. And then we use the local resources, herbs that can be possibly useful for us to cure or avoid this disease. Related to herbs or local resources, vitamin C is working and effective against COVID-19, and vitamin D. There are the reports that these things are important and these things are working against the COVID virus. But there are no confirmed studies, no clinical studies that can show these things are very helpful. So keeping in these views, current we have, you can see the available resources. All the available thing is the local use of local resources, use of our local plants just to cure this disease. That may be, you can see the first way to go to COVID cure. Next, please. So I am talking about herbal medicines or herbs that whether it will helpful or not. So just to show all the people that if any plant which has leaf, seed, and flower, and we use them for flowering, or we use them in our foods, we use them in our perfumes, or in our medicines, we call that herb. And when we talk about the botanist, they say that any plant that don't have woody stem and die on the ground means they remain on the ground and produce flowering, and that can be useful for our food, medicine, and perfume. So that can be termed as herbs or herb medicine. Next. Here are the some useful things about herbs, how they are helping us. They help us in to strengthen our immune system. They help us to reduce our blood sugar and cholesterol. They help us against bad breath and toothache. It means we can use them to relieve from ache anywhere in the world. They are beneficial in treating the arthritis. They are reduce the risk of cancer. They help to maintain the healthy skin and their hair. Uh, Maybe all people know that you are from clinical medicine, that green or leafy vegetable are always helpful for our health instead of meat or something like that. So in that case, herbs are also very important in case of our health and in case of human health. Next, please. So how these herbs can help us to cure the COVID-19, to fight against the need. We have many reports about their therapies. We use tea. Uh, I don't know about other countries. In Pakistan, when we had to face this pandemic, there was a voice that everybody is saying that use the tea to avoid this disease. Always try to eat tea to avoid this disease. So there was a very loud voice about this tea, that use tea again and again, maybe 3 or 4 times a day to avoid this disease. Then essential oils, this was also tinctures, silver products. These are the things that we came to know during this COVID, that we can use them for our treatment and we can use them for our cure, our fight against COVID-19. Next, please. Here are the some effects on food, of foods and herbs which we use. How can they help us to cure this disease? They help us to disease cannot be over. We can say that we cannot solely depend on these herbs, but they are all. It also doesn't mean that they cannot be used. Long-standing use of dietary therapy and herb medicines to prevent and treat diseases cannot be oversized, means we cannot overemphasize on them, but several herbs have their antiviral activities, but there are some reports that they have some antiviral activities. So keeping in view this fact, they can also be used against the SARS-CoV-2 infection that is complementary to COVID-19 therapy, while drugs remain under development. As I already mentioned, that we don't have vaccine to treat our patients to cure against COVID-19. So we have this other option to use the herb medicines as a dietary therapy and use in our food to cure this disease. Here are some examples like aloe vera. We can use aloe vera, Anglecia gigas, and Chinese skullcap, ginseng, Korean ginseng. These are some herbs that are reported in different reports. Here is one mushroom, Gynoderma lucidum. This is mushroom that is wild mushroom. We can find it in the forest. So these things have reports that they exhibit some immunodilative properties against in a human to cure certain diseases, and that can be helpful against COVID-19. Next, please. There are some other things, very common things like rice bran, wheat bran. These are the things that are commonly available in different countries, and we can use them for our for the cure and to stimulate our immune system. Another thing is eucalyptus, essential oils. These are the other things that are reported to improve the immune response and can be useful for immunoregulatory agents against infectious diseases. This is another report which shows that eucalyptus oil can be used to treat certain diseases to improve our immune system. And once we have improved immune system, you can say you can fight many diseases like COVID and other. Next, please. There are some facts about herbs and different their extracts against diseases like SARS-CoV-1. I think audience may know that we have different coronaviruses, coronavirus 1, coronavirus 2, coronavirus 3. Like I mentioned in a picture that it has 3 strains A, B, and C. So this slide shows that I have just placed the 4 herbs are the foods that extracts are used against SARS-CoV-1. Here from the start, you can in Chinese it is said that Xian Chun. This is the herb medicine name, Chinese name. Tona sensis Rome. This is English name as I found in the literature. So its crude extract in different frictions can be used against SARS-CoV-1. When we grow cells, they use the growing cells with the FM1, its extract as an infection model, and its action against the COVID-1 was it inhibit the replication of that virus. And I think once we are able to reduce the replication of virus, we are able to stop or cure, or we can say that kill this virus, that it may not spread. As virus has a very specific relationship with its host, like we say to master-slave relationship. Once the virus enter into the host, it overcome everything. It captures everything. It take the system as its slave. So just the objective is to reproduce or replicate itself. So if we are able to stop the replication, we are able to stop the virus. So this report, Chen in 2018 reported that this Chinese herb has a power or has a effect on the replication of COVID-1. Then there is another disease, another herb called Genxiao. This is also very important. It's glycolic acid derivatives were used as an infection model against the cells. So it also has some inhibitory effect on the COVID-1. Then similarly, third and fourth herb, Sichuan and Guanji, these are used to inhibit these were tested against the COVID-1, and they found that they are affecting on the replication of the viruses. So if this information is, as these scientists have reported, that this information is very useful, and we can use these herbs to test them against COVID-19, so that if it similarly affect on the replication or something like that, so we will be able to use these herbs in future against COVID-19. Next, please. Here, this is the second stage, COVID-2. Here I just want to mention that This is a combination of 13 herbs. I didn't mention in the slide because it was too long and you can say that very complex. So I just avoided writing their names. This is a complex of 16 herbs that was reported by Ding in 2017. Linquishing 1, this is the name of that herb that is used. And similarly, its infection model was tested in a growing cells. And they found that this herb affects the pro-inflammatory cytokinins, means it inhibits the proteins. That is the most important part of the virus. You people know that a virus consists of only genetic information and a protein. If we can inhibit one thing, it means we are able to inhibit other thing. And similarly, affect the particle morphology of the virus cells. So this linquishing one has an effect on you can say the morphology of the virus, on the morphological particles of the virus, and also on the protein development of the virus. So they found some satisfactory results and showed that this herb has effect on replication, reduce the cytokinins, also affect the particle morphology of virus. So this is also an encouraging result, so that we can test them against the different viruses, specifically current pandemic, current virus that we are all over the world are facing is coronavirus. So we can use them against this disease. Next, please. Here is some about influenza. We had this pandemic in the history. You people all may be well aware of this, that we had an influenza virus. So some herbal extract was also tested against influenza virus. First is the garlic, the English name everybody may know that. They call it Denson. They used this garlic aqueous extract and simple garlic extract and tested them in a chicken embryo and the growing cells. And they found that anti-avian influenza virus activity in both chick embryo and the cell model, means they found its effect against the virus. Then the other garlic extract they use that inhibit the H1 and N1 virus penetration and proliferation of culture cells, means in 2008 they found that this garlic extract is affecting the influenza virus, means it has some antiviral activities. Then we have ginger. They use the ginger aqueous extract against this influenza virus. Similarly, in MDCK cells and chicken embryo, they also found some antiviral activities of the ginger extract. Then I have already mentioned the eucalyptus. In 2013, in a report, they found that it has some aerosols and vapor forms that are useful against the virus, and they are effective against the influenza virus in inhibiting that virus. Then they have fish mint. This fish mint acute lung injury in mice through antiviral and anti-inflammatory effects and inhibit the viral neuronal activities to like receptor signaling. Once we have this all this data, I am here. One thing I need to mention against that, China has very extensive research on herbal medicines. They are using these herbs to treat their diseases. They are still using the first generation medicines. They are focusing on the herbs to treat different diseases. So these results are very encouraging, that we can use these herbs, these different herbs, or our local resources to cure our diseases that we are facing, and most importantly, most specifically, the coronavirus, the current pandemic that we are facing in all the countries. So these results are very, if you can say, encouraging they are very specific that these herbal medicines can be used against different viruses. Next, please. Okay, in April 14, there was a conference, maybe everybody know that, indication that they said that we have three, after all this data I have presented, so this emphasizes that China is working on the herbal medicines. So on 14 to 2020, they conducted a press conference and they indicated that they have approved three potent herbal drugs against COVID-19 that are effective to reduce the COVID-19 symptoms. The name of them is Linquishing one capsule. They prepare the capsule that can be used. Then the Jinqua Xingang granules. If you have a mild condition, you can use them. And the last one is the Xingbijing. This is a kind of injection. You can use this injection in severe cases. So this was one development in current pandemic around April, that they approved three potent herbal medicines or herbs to use them against the COVID-19. After that, I didn't found any, you can say the clinical evidences are what I can say that any good results that how much these herb medicines are effective in curing the COVID-19 disease, but still they announced these herbal to use them against the disease. Next, please. This this picture shows right from the top that how COVID can infect us. It can directly go through mouth and it touch, and it can be used if it use anything to drink or eat, and it can also transmit in different ways. But here, at the bottom of this picture, if you if this shows that herbal medicines and its bioactive compounds. If we use these herbal medicines, how they protect us against the COVID-19. If using food and herbs as the diet or supplement, the first and most important thing, if we use them in our regular feed, in our regular diet and supplement, to prevent the infection and to strengthen the immunity. The main focus of using the herb is to improve our immunity. If we are able to improve our immunity, we are able to fight against the coronavirus. We are able to avoid, or we are able to prevent this disease. So if we use the herb medicines, they can improve our immunity, they can strengthen our immunity, and we are able to, our systems, our body system are able to fight against this virus. Second thing is, if we use as an antiviral agent, like coating on mask. I don't know about other countries, but here in Pakistan, we have lots of different kinds of masks. Some are effective, some are not effective. Just a business point of view, they're using that mask. They are selling to the people. They are just earning money. They doesn't care about the protection, or they are protecting the humans or not. So in this case, you can use them as a coating on your mask, so that the virus cannot penetrate. Or if you keep in touch with the virus, it will stay on the mask. You can avoid in this way. The third is use as an air disinfectant. A lot of countries are using with this. They are spraying the different fields. They are placing the machines that spray, that disinfect the humans while they are entering in building or something. So herbs can be used as an air disinfectant. They are more secure than any other chemical. They are more beneficial than another chemical. And the last thing and the most important thing, to use as a surface sanitizer. You know, we all of us are using hand sanitizers every day, in every minute. So we can use these herbs to prepare some sanitizers, to prepare some surface cleanliness, so that they may be more cheap, they may be there are less side effects. Like that, we have many benefits. So here the more emphasis is how we can use these herbs against the different diseases, and more specifically against COVID-19. So we can use as a diet supplement, we can use them for coating, we can use them to disinfect the air, like a spray. We can use them to prepare the sanitizers. So these are the four means, the more main important way of application of this herb. So any herb we are using, we can think on these things, that how it will be more effective if we use these herbs. Next, please.
Excuse me, sorry, Dr. Kaiso, your section is just about 1 minute more.
Okay. I will go through quickly. Some consequences, some important thing about are the some questions about this virus is, first, we should care about the safety. Like I already mentioned, the side effects. If we don't have a side effect, then means we should focus on the safety. Second thing, we should get more evidence, clinical evidence, that herbals are effective against the disease. Third, we should understand the mechanism, how they are working. And one of the most and the specific point regarding the drugs is that they can easily be purchased by any person. So without any doctor prescriptions. So I emphasize on this point, that once you are announcing that this herb is important for certain disease or COVID, be very careful that everybody can prepare. We have this incidence in our country. Maybe you people have this, that they announce one herb that this is effective against COVID. Everybody start taking that herb, and they have some dietary problems. They have some uh, immunity problem, and this goes on. Next, please. So the last thing regarding my conclusion, I will say that we should not go to any judgment without any sufficient scientific evidence. We should take care about this, that once we have very specific evidence, or clinical evidence, or scientific evidence, then we may public this news. As I already mentioned, in China, they have one medicine that called Xi Jinping. They announced that this is very important for the COVID-19, but in the later days they had to withdraw all that herb from the market because it had some side effects. So before going to any conclusion, just be very specific about your results. Just very specific about your evidences that it is very effective or not. Thank you very much to all the audiences, the organizers, the Ministry of Health Indonesia, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you in this very good and very effective and very learning webinar. I hope best of luck to all the organizers and the rest of the speakers for their activity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kaiser Shakil, for the excellent presentation. Thank you for the insight. It's very interesting to know about herbal remedy. But that was only the beginning. We still have another interesting topic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the second speaker. The second speaker is Professor Hatil Hasim El-Kamali from Faculty of Science and Technology, Omdurman Islamic University, Sudan. His educational background: bachelor degree in biology from the University of Khartoum in 1984, master degree from the University of Khartoum in 1991 and doctoral program also in University of Khartoum at 2002. Now, his position as professor at Department of Botany, Faculty of Science and Technology, Omdurman Islamic University, Sudan. Professor Hatil has some professional activities at national and international level. He has at least 45 journal and selected publication. He also is a reviewer at 15 journal, among other in Journal Medicinal Plant Research, International Journal of Medicinal Plant Research, International Journal of Pharmaceutical and Biological Archive, International Research of Pharmacy and Pharmacology, and also as editor-in-chief in Journal of the Faculty of Science and Technology. Today, Professor Hatil will deliver Sudanese herbal medicine might combat against COVID-19. If in Indonesia, we also have herbal medicine, but how about Sudanese medicine? Can it combat COVID-19? We will listen the explanation from Professor Hatil. So, would you please welcome Professor Hatil El Kamali from Sudan.
Thank you. First of all, I extend my sincere thanks to the family of the Environmental Health Institute in Bandung, Indonesia, for giving me the opportunity to participate in this important, vital meeting. I also thank Dr. Ammar Sharafuddin for his valuable assistance and efforts in facilitating this participation. Finally, I also extend my thanks to Omdurman Islamic University administration for facilities my tasks to participate. I will talk a topic entitled Sudanese herbal medicine might combat against COVID-19. In this topic, I will address several points, all of which are concentrated to the general goal of this meeting. Next slide. Plant species have been used for medicinal purposes throughout history. Their health properties are linked to a number of chemical constituents. In recent years, phytochemicals in plants have received a great deal of attention, mainly for their role in preventing diseases that result from microbial infections. Next. Some medicinal herbs play a role in fight against COVID-19. Rice, sweet wormwood, Boswellia serrata, and some list of 10 plants used in Chinese traditional medicine. Next. A statement released by WHO as efforts are underway to find treatment of COVID-19. Caution must be taken against misinformation, especially on social media about the effectiveness of certain remedies. The warning came after Madagascar introduced its own medicine for the treatment of the coronavirus and delivered the cushions to Guinea-Conakry, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau, Tanzania, Togo, Nigeria had yet to place its medicinal plants. Next. In Togo, for instance, traditional medicine researchers are pushing for collaboration with modern researchers to find ways through which traditional medicine can also be integrated into the treatment of COVID-19. In Liberia, ordinary citizens were excited after receiving their consignment of the Madagascar abortions, the country reached more than 100 confirmed cases and some deaths. President hoped that the abortion will flatten curve in this country. Next. COVID-19 and herbal medicine in China. Chinese doctors and scientists have suggested using traditional Chinese medicine as a source of medicines that can be used directly against the coronavirus. Reason of this is that traditional Chinese medicine also proved to be effective by patients with severe acute respiratory syndrome during the SARS epidemic. Next. Lack of coronavirus cure make people turn to herbal remedies. Using herbs for illness is not a novel idea. For thousands of years, herbs have been used to treat respiratory infections like the flu and pneumonia. In India, the home Ayurveda medicine, a Hindu system of medicine based on herbal medicines and dietary restrictions, promotes alternative medicine to strengthen the immune system. Next. Use of herbal drugs to treat COVID-19 should be with caution. Expert cautions the public in using medicine without adequate scientific basis. Why? The herbal drugs can effectively relieve symptoms such as fever, cough, and fatigue, and reduce the probability of patients developing other conditions. Next. Some antimicrobial compounds in medicinal herbs. Hibiscus subderrifa, roselle, contain flavonoid known as goziptine. It possesses a potent antibacterial activity. Ibiginin and uracilic acid effective on herpes, hepatitis, and enteroviruses. Trans and ethyl and phenyl effective against herpes virus and boost immunity. Glycyrrhizin and glabridine have powerful antiviral properties, especially including SARS-CoV. Oleanolic acid has displayed antiviral activity against herpes, viruses, HIV, and influenza. Next. Healing herbs used in Sudanese traditional medicine are attributed with antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral action. Unlike many African countries, the unique geographical position of Sudan has had a considerable impact on its traditional medicine. The interaction with Arabic, Islamic, and African cultures has undoubtedly left its influence on different aspects of Sudanese traditional medicine concerning the concept of illness, the methods of diagnosis, and the herbal treatment. The acceptability of herbal drugs as claimed effective remedies is quite high among the Sudanese population. Most of the remedies consist of single plant species. However, in some cases, recipes are made up of two different plant species. The knowledge about the habits and traditions and folk medicines was transmitted verbally from generation to generation. Next. Please, next slide. Corona in Sudan. The emergence and spread of corona disease in Sudan mainly due to people stranded on the Sudanese-Egyptian border and also returnees from the Gulf and some European countries and America. The numbers of injuries at the beginning of the appearance in Sudan were continuously increasing for a period of not less than 2 months. Then the numbers decreased and until participation of many in millions, we did not yet hear records of injuries, but during the past week, the disease began to appear again. Next. If the person tested in Sudan for the disease is positive, the patient will take the official medicines issued by the doctors in the hospital, but when he returns to his home, the family takes care of the patient and often gives the patient herbs that help to hide or mask or reduce the symptoms of the disease. Since the emergence of this disease, the government, as the direction of the Ministry of Health, has announced curfew 20 hours a day. In addition to the commitment of many of wear masks and maintain social distancing, so far all activities and events are completely suspended, but government work has started and many of facilities have come back to life again. Next. These some of the most commonly used Sudanese medicinal herbs used as antimicrobial. Purple, Acacia nilotica, subspecies nilotica is a scientific name. The fruit or stem bark is used in folk medicine in Sudan as antibacterial and as antiseptic. Next. Argil, Sononostemma argil, this plant distributed in North Sudan, the aerial bars used for cough, jaundice, and miazalis. Next. Symbol spined num Carissa edulis in Western Sudan. The root are smelled to treat headache and cough. Next. Habil is a vernacular name or the common name in Sudan, Combritum ordifanum. In Western Sudan, the wood fumigation is used to relieve fever. Next. Christhorn jojob, Ziziphus spinacristae. This plant is distributed widespread in central Sudan. Its root used to relieve fever. Next. Lavender croton, Croton zambesicus, distributed in Western Sudan. The fruits and seeds powder in sesame oil applied on chest for cough. Next. White crossberry, Growia tenax, in Western and Central Sudan. The fruits infusion or borage used as a tonic. Next. African beech, Nauclea latifolia, grow in Western Sudan. The fruit is used for cough and whooping cough. Next. Baobab, Adansonea digitata, this big tree, and show in the photo fruit of this plant. The fruit bulb is used in Central and Western Sudan as a fairy figure. Next. Desert date, Palanatis gyptiaca. This plant, stem bark used as to treat jaundice. Next. Sudanese frankincense, Boswellia babyrifera, distributed in colonial state in Eastern Sudan. The resin, mainly masticated or as fumigation, is used to treat cataract and as antiseptic. Next.
Excuse me, Professor Hatil, you have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Yes. Gum Arabic tree, Acacia Senegal. Gum has good febrifugu effects and to relieve body pain in case of yellow fever. Next. Roselle, Hibiscus subderiva. The calyces used for cough suppressant and as antibacterial for respiratory tract infections. Next. Garlic, Oleum sativum, the bulb for influenza, viral pneumonia. Next. Black cumin, Nigella sativa, the seed as a spectorant, seed oil for cough and influenza and headache. Next. Cassia tura, in Western Sudan, the seeds and fermented leaves for jaundice. Next. Sweet basil, Ocimum basilicum, leaves on flowering tops, used for jaundice and as expectorant. Next, sesame, Sesamum indicum, the seed oil is used to relieve cough and fever. Please return to slide number 22. Please rapidly. Potentials of Sudanese herbs inhibit and probable cure for symptoms of COVID-19. Prominent herbs used to treat cough as mentioned before, argil, lavender, croton, African beech, roselle, black cumin, sesame, licorice, and prominent herbs used antimicrobials as pebble, roselle, black cumin, ginger, garlic, onion, fenugreek, and some prominent herbs used as tonics is dates and fenugreek and Cajanus cajan and Grevia tenax. Also, some of plants may used as to boost immunity. In Sudan, garlic, onion, Tenospora cordifolia, Bonica granata, banana, curcum, fennel, sweet basil, roselle, tamarind, neem, eucalyptus. These plants are many benefits to fewer or no side effects and strengthening in immune system, rich with antioxidants, rich with vitamins A, C, E, D, B complex, and rich with zinc and copper that will support body to fight against pathogens. Plants provide a good source of starting material for the discovery of biologically active molecules that could be developed into new medicines. COVID-19 has been most pandemic in human society. General discussion, as can be seen from the diversity of therapeutic properties of Sudanese herbs and the long experience of the elderly and herbalists, we conclude the following. Many antimicrobial activity medicines in Sudan possess simultaneous antibacterial and antifungal and antiprotozoal and antiviral properties. Herbal extracts have the potential to boost host resistance to infections, particularly in immunocompromised patients. Therefore, antimicrobial broad-spectrum activity in conjunction with immune stimulatory properties may help to prevent microbial resistance to herbal medicine. In general, we find that the incidence of infection in Sudan is limited. And the reason for this may be that the Sudanese have a high level of curative and nutritive culture. After conducting a survey on the chemical components of some Sudanese herbs and biological activities and some pharmacological and toxicological tests that are widely used in medicinal these plants. We notice that they contain antiviral substances and also work to enhance, boost immunity. After carrying out many ethnobotanical survey in various geographical regions in Sudan, chemical analysis and biological activity tests of most prominent medicinal herbs and finding the scientific evidence or basis from the literature, we have suggested herbal formulas of most promising herbal according to our findings, according to our surveys, and our studies are still ongoing, and with the grace of God, we can reach what we seek to serve all mankind. Finally, recommendations, clinical studies and trials must be carried out, especially for herbal extracts that proved to be possessing high antiviral properties. This emergency effort requires financial support along with scientific expertise to fast track the research in various disciplines. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Hatil. It's an absolutely excellent presentation. Thank you for sharing this with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you, if you have a question to the speaker, just send your question to the pigeonhole link that have been shared by the committee. Moving right along, we have a very special guest that's going to be a third speaker. The third speaker is Dr. Judiono from the Nutrition Department of Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, Indonesia. Dr. Judiono was born in Tuban, East Java on January 8, 1964. He graduated from Diploma Academy of Nutrition in 1988, master degree in food and nutrition planning from the University of Philippines at Los Baños, Philippines in 1995, and Doctor of Medical Science from Universitas Diponegoro at 2011. Dr. Judiono is active in professional training, many research, and as a speaker in some training and seminar, and many experiences in conference, workshop, and symposium. He has at least 18 publications in journal, book, and book chapter. He is editor and reviewer for some journals, such as the Indonesian Nutrition Journal, Journal of Food Nutrition, and Jurnal Riset Kesehatan Poltekkes Depkes Bandung. Now his position as Head of Nutrition Department, Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. Today, Dr. Judiono will share us about the role of functional and local food characteristics to increase immunity in the pandemic and post-COVID-19. Dr. Judiono, please welcome with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Bu Mita. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Mr.
wabarakatuh.
Dr. Sugiyanto, be represented of Head of the Health Manpower Empowerment Education Agency, MOH, Honorable our Director, Vice Director, and also the support team management at Directorate Health Politeknik Kesehatan Bandung, dearest valuable foreign guest speaker, and also all participants the international webinar. And also my honorable, the chairman and team, the international webinar committee. First of all, I wish you good afternoon. I'm very happy that I can participate and join in this webinar because we know that this webinar talking about this combat of the problem in Indonesia, such as COVID pandemic. The topic will be discussed is utilization of local resources for health improvement and the community in the new normal. The topic is very important due to the combating of COVID pandemic. Let me share my presentation, the topic, the seminar, the role of functional food and local food characteristic to increase immunity in the pandemic and post novel corona virus or called COVID-19. I'm very happy because our guest speaker have already talked much about the novel coronavirus that called SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. This virus have already identified as the cause of pneumonia in the cluster of patients at the Wuhan, China. We know that since the initial outbreak, the identified virus has spread across of the globe in the World Health Organization declaring the global pandemic on March 11, 2020. There is over there 2.3 million cases and 203,000 deaths reported over the world. COVID-19 affect to health disorders. First is the systemic disorder and the respiratory disorder. As the result, it requires to fulfill optimum nutritional intake. In the systemic disorder, nutritional intake, we saw that there is increasing. However, in the respiratory disorder, there is decreased intake in nutritional intake. So by the case study, so that the patient who have suffering of the COVID-19, it should the need of management, nutrition and dietetic very much. Go ahead. In the case of pandemic of COVID-19, the more important is case of the providing nutritional and health status to increase the body immune system, because without immune system that well function, I think it will affect on the suffering of the disease. We know that the immune system, there is consists of innate and adaptive immune. We know that this case of immune, there is very important to tap about the problem in health about the program pandemic COVID this one. The health status could be depend about two antigen from attack outside, starting from the body, yeah, such as by physical attack, physical defense. Furthermore, when in the first barrier is not well function, it means goes through to innate immune. In this case, innate immune, it what call there is insight about the inflammation. Usually, the case of the innate immune just work on only 12 hours. If there's a fail to make phagocytosis, then they goes through to adaptive immune. In the adaptive immune, there are two mechanism that will run on. The first is by B cell or T cell. Goes through. Next. And the management that I saw what we need to explain to the audience, management and nutrition and dietetic for COVID is very important. Based on our guidance from the Nutrition Association and also Dietetic Association Indonesia, and also Ministry of Health Department, especially in Health Nutrition Department in Health Ministry, the case of the COVID, it should fit by nutrition in a proper case. I mean, it must be complete of nutrition, carbohydrate, protein, fat, and also vitamin and mineral. In the case of the COVID, beside this nutritional status, I mean that nutrition intake, it should also providing other diet that consists of antioxidant, because condition of the pandemic COVID, usually because of suffering of systemic and respiratory disorder, usually there is inflammation very big or very hard. We know that when the inflammation is so very big in the our body, it will cause of destroy our cell and also body. Next, we know that based on the several literature, we know that food component and bioactive in the food, there is consist of nutritive and also non-nutritive. The nutritive consists of macronutrient such as carbohydrate, fat, and also protein, and the other is micronutrient such as vitamin and mineral. And the others is nutritive, non-nutritive value. Usually, the non-nutritive value that we have learned from other speaker, it is very important to know because some part of this ingredient is very important for cure about the pandemic of COVID-19 or patient of pandemic COVID. The interaction between nutritive and non-nutritive, it's called bioactive component. Then it usually is called food functional. Next.
Excuse me, Dr. Tudiono.
Yeah.
Your time about 5 minutes left.
Go very fast. Yeah. Let me see that this component that very important to know that carbohydrate, protein, fat, and vitamin. Next. And we know that food functional is very important. It is consists of provide health benefit that when we take or we drink this food. Next. This is we saw that when we suffering of COVID, everything must be secure and supplement from the food or dietetic intake should be giving to the patient because without supported the nutrition and dietetic, I think the case of the COVID is more severe. Next. And this is also, I would like to show that some nutrient can be improve of condition of immune in the body, such as glutamine, arginine, acetylcysteine, brain chain aminonucleate, and other antioxidant. Next. Immunomodulator also must be given because in the case of the pandemic COVID, sometimes usually severity of the case of disease will affect to the immune system in the body. So we know that there is immunostimulant and also immunosuppressive. In the case of this one, we must know about that this immunomodulator that we should give to the patient. Next. This is some component also that are very important, especially for the carbohydrate complex. It's very used to give to the patient. But again, in the case of savory, usually this must be careful because this carbohydrate must be given more easy to absorb in the body. Next. The other hand, and also that we need is antioxidant. So many food that consists of antioxidant. Allicin, beta carotene, carotenoid, curcumin, catechin, capsanthin, phytosterol, phytoestrogen, and also the other. It is very important to given to the patient to make or to give increasing of antioxidant in the body. Next. Food component, the others as come from fat. Usually, fat should be given with fat with what we call MUFA. This is very important because it is absorbed very fast in the body. Next. The others is herb and spices. Also, we use we add for to cook our food for the providing for the patient, because it is consists of antioxidant in this menu. Next, polyphenol, tea, also very important because it is very important. Yes.
I'm
Next.
sorry, Dr. Judiono, just 1 minute more.
Yeah. The others is lycopene. Lycopene, we know that very important to give because it is also provide more than antioxidant. Next. Beta carotene also have to give to the patient because it is very important to increase antioxidant. Finally, all the things that we provide to patient supposed giving by antioxidant and also with other food, the others the content of nutrient such as, for example, carbohydrate, protein, and the others. Thank you very much because the time is in. There is something that I give you some literature that we learn more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Judiono, for the excellent presentation. And that's not all. We are going to the fourth speaker. The fourth speaker is Dr. Feby Dwi Rahmadi from Global Health School of Medicine, Brisbane, Australia. His educational background, Bachelor of Public Health from the University of Indonesia in 2004, Master of Science in Public Health from Griffith University in 2009, and Doctor of Philosophy from Griffith University in 2016. He has at least 17 publications and also some paper presentation at the international conference. He is also a journal editor in the Indonesian Journal of Health Administration and Epidemiology periodical journal and reviewer in the Indonesian Symposium of Public Health and Health Promotion International Journal. He has some professional experience in disaster risk reduction, Australian Red Cross, climate change adaptation research, health service, and health program. Now his position as lecturer in Global Health School of Medicine, Brisbane, Australia, since 2016 until right now. Dr. Feby, please welcome.
Thank you, Ibu Moderator. So it's been a pleasure for me to be here, and I think thank you so much for all participants for your patience to listen to my presentations at the end of this very interesting seminar. And could you please allow me to share my screen? Okay. All right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen right now.
Okay, good. So I'll be talking from a bit different perspective. So I can see that from first speaker, the second speaker, and the third speaker will talking about the herbal medicines, about the nutrition. So I'll be talking from a different perspective, but it is also related to COVID-19, of course. So I'll be talking about the roles of community engagement for effective community COVID-19 mitigation measures. And as you know that the COVID-19 is something that is a risk for all countries. Even here in Australia, we are still having issue with COVID-19. We are currently in the second wave. They call it the second wave. I'm not too sure in Indonesia whether you're still in the first wave or you're already in the second wave. But here in Australia, they said they are currently facing the second wave of the virus. All right, so Okay, first of all, I'd like to talk about why community engagement, because we've been hearing a lot about the importance of using local resources, which is the main topic of this conference. And all speakers were talking about the using any potential local herbs, for instance, local medicines, which might be useful to improve the immunity and also probably to prevent the disease as well, which is very important. As we all know that the vaccine is something that is still it's like a competition now between big countries, between Russia, between China, of course, United States of America. It's like a competitions who can develop vaccines the first, right? So as we all know that for disease like measles, mumps, rubella, polio, smallpox, and influenza have a long history of safe use and were developed in line with requirement of regulatory agencies. And we all are seeing efforts to support quick fix programs, at developing vaccines and therapeutic against this disease. And I think I think the first speaker you mentioned as well about the Russia has announced that they have developed the vaccine already. Okay. However, in my view, standard protocols are essential for safeguarding health. Before allowing use of COVID-19 vaccines in humans, regulators should evaluate safety with a range of virus strains and in more than one animal model. So they should demand strong preclinical evidence that the experimental vaccines prevent infections, even though that will probably mean waiting weeks or even months for the models to become available. All right, so there is no quick fix for this crisis. So that is something that we need to we need to put in our mind. There is no quick fix, and there is also no shortcut. Okay, so we have to be real careful when we develop vaccine. So, and we all also know that without vaccine, all we can do is to manage the risks of the transmissions. All right, so this is what is currently happening in Victoria. I'm currently I'm in Brisbane, which is in Queensland. Queensland, in terms of COVID-19, is it's quite. Compared to New South Wales, Victoria, we are relatively much safer. Okay, there has been no new cases since last week. Okay, so but in Victoria, so Victoria has been announced as the hotspot of COVID-19 in Australia. So what you see in this picture is the picture in Victoria, in Melbourne. So they have curfew, so they only allow people to go outside their house from, I think, 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, and they have to go back to their house at 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon. And they only can travel 5-kilometer distance from their house. Okay, so this is in Victoria, but not in Queensland. My wife is still on her way back from her office, and my son, I just picked my son from his school, but I'm still working from home, so I'm still teaching from home myself, because Griffith University will go back to new normal, so there will be no go back to normal by end of October. So, and we all know about this theory, about this principle, right? So the vital importance of social distancing, which is very crucial. And you can see here 1%, in fact, probably in 5 days, 2.5 people. In 30 days, about 400 people. If you look at here, so 50 less contact and 75 plus contact, so dramatically decrease the how many people might be able to be infected. All right. However, it is also very important for us to look at from the cultural perspective. Here, Australia, although Australia is not located in the western region in terms of geography, but Australia is considered as Western country. Here in Australia, they have implemented social distancing before COVID-19, especially with stranger. So they have gap between, like for instance, if you are in the ATM machine, you want to withdraw some money, and there is another person behind you, so they will wait maybe 2 meters away from you. But maybe, let's say Indonesia, because of maybe more populations, so they will stand maybe much closer to you. Okay, here in Australia, they will keep their distance with other people. So it is relatively easier to implement social distancing here in Australia. Okay, so however, here in Australia, we also face this problem, which is panic buying. I think also in many countries as well, people try to survive because it is also happening again in New Zealand. Okay, we all know that New Zealand has been successfully managed the first wave. However, they said there's a potential of second wave in New Zealand. So people are starting, buying. Sorry, there's a feedback. Okay, buying, important stuff for their household. Okay, they're just thinking about themselves, right? They're just thinking about how to survive, which is normal as a human being. They want to make sure their family is safe. However, in terms of community, this is something that we have to avoid. Okay, because they only think about themselves. They only think about how to survive from this crisis without involving other people. Okay, so panic buying is something that we have to avoid. And this is also related to individual-centric instead of collective-centric or collective efficacy, which is need to be enhanced. I will talk about this later in the context of community resilience. So the Sydney Morning Herald, so one of the main newspaper here in Australia, so they have already put in their first, headline news that youth people are fueling the second wave, and it is also echoed by WHO. So WHO has mentioned that youth people has potential to be the reason why the second wave is happening. Okay, so people, as you know, that a lot of people, especially youth people between 15 to 24 years old, so they are teenagers, they are young adult, they think that they are immune, they are strong, they don't have any comorbidity, they don't have diabetes, they don't have heart problem, so they think they are strong. All right, so and this is according to data from WHO in February. So this group of people, so it is only about 4.5% from the total people who got these infections. Okay, but if you look at in July, so the data has been tripled. So from 4.5 to 15% in July 2020 of this group of people between 14 to 24 years old, which means a lot of people, young people now become, they got this COVID-19. The problem is maybe they don't have symptom. All right, so they don't have symptoms, so they think they are okay, or maybe they have atypical symptoms probably, but then they will they can infect other people. They can infect their parents, they can infect their uncles, their maybe neighbors, for instance. So they become the transmissions pathway for this virus, especially for the second wave. So that WHO has already mentioned this as a potential second wave behavior. So which is very something that we have to avoid. I think we all understand about this epidemiological triad. So there will be no disease, okay, if there is no agent. Okay, so in this case will be the virus, the host, which is in this case is the human, and also the environment, the exposure. All right, so this is the principle of epidemiology, why we become sick, why we become infected by this COVID-19. All right, so if you look at here in the context of COVID-19, of course, the host will be us, human. All right. So the agent will be the SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus, and the environment will be crowded places, maybe in our office, in the bus stations, in supermarket, in the public transport, for instance. So all these become very important for us. And it is difficult for us to manage the agent because the virus is something that is external factor. So it's something that we cannot manage. All right, so it's the virus, especially because we haven't developed the vaccines. All right, so something that we can develop will be the environment and also ourself as a human. So it is very important for us to then to see which part that we can manage, which is ourself, the human, and also the environment. So from public health perspective, so this is something that we need to control. We need to put efforts to, especially in the context of mitigations, how we can reduce the risks of transmissions to human.
Dr. Feby, excuse me, you have about 4 minutes left.
Okay, cool. I think we've been talking about this. This is the president has already mentioned about the 3M, using masks, wash your hand, and also keep your distance. Most countries are currently undergoing what we call by the suppression response strategy, which is, of course, we have to suppress the transmissions to the low level as possible. However, we also have to deal with the resumptions of some parts of economy and social life, and also it is also related to social economy, because economy is also very important. Okay, so this is why the whole society approach is very important. So, however, for this whole society approach to be effective, we need to engage the community. We need to involve them. It is not only the responsibility of the government themselves only. So the whole society means here to acknowledge the contributions of an important role played by all relevant stakeholders. It is not only the responsibility of the health sector only, it is also education, transport, and commerce, for instance, trading. So all these sectors are important to be involved. And if you look at here in Queensland, here in Australia, we have what our motto, which is "Unite Against COVID-19." So basically, it's like a communication with all people that we need to work together to fight this virus. And I don't have enough time to explain this, but this is the spectrum of community engagement. So the basic will be the information. So we need to inform them with a very relevant or what to say is informations. We need to provide them very reliable information to the society. We cannot keep this information just to ourselves for the government. So that's why here in Australia we develop what we call by public communications strategy to deal with this COVID-19, especially how we can involve the community to be part of our program. So of course, by what we call by community empowerment here, of course, we need to provide them with informations. We need to provide them with networks. We need to involve them in decision-making process. And also we need to provide them with resources so then they become empowered. So this is just an example of how we deal with this COVID-19 in the context here in Australia, and also here, this is in New Zealand. So we have to install these applications as part of our contributions, and we can be part of, this is part of the contact tracing as well, for to trace the potential infections. So these are the principle of public communications. If you look at this, the first one will be openness and transparency. Some government, they just want to keep, to keep secret. So this is something that we have to avoid. So we have to be open, we have to be transparent to the society. I don't have enough time. So these are the stages of change. So if you look at this, so all human beings, including us, so we always have to go through several stages before we finally change our behavior. So here we have to support this community. We have to look at our community. We should identify the challenges in each level. So look at our community, like why they don't want to wear masks, for instance. We cannot just blame them. All right, so maybe they don't used to wear masks. So how we can make sure they are used to wear masks? So a lot of people like myself, for instance, we try to blame the community. We cannot do that. As a health professionals, we always have to evaluate ourselves. And of course, community participations and public health programs is very effective, because when we do community participations, it means they will be, they will buy our program. So which means they will be the backbone of our programs. And also it is also important because it will build the local capacity of our community. And this is the publication that was published last year, which is about the people-centered resilience building. My background is more about disaster management, but this is also related to disaster, COVID-19. So if you look at this, so the model that we develop is it has to be, all program has to be centered into human and social aspect, which means everything has to be centralized into the human itself. Because by building, like for instance, the technical aspect, the financial aspect, the natural aspect, the institutional aspect, when we also include human and social aspect, it will help them to transform their behavior. Because behavioral change is something that we need to do in the context of this COVID-19. So just the last slide. So any government will not be possible to deal with the crisis themselves, including all countries, including America. America in 2019 has been announced as the first nations who have the best global health security. But what you can see now, America is also #1 in terms of the cases. So interesting, right? So community engagements and participations is the backbone of COVID-19 risk control and preventions. So we need to involve the community as much as possible. And we also have to use all possible local resources, not only herbal medicines, but also our culture, our religion, for instance. We have different religion, of course. So we have to use our religion to spread the message, okay? Maybe local wisdom, belief, or maybe local culture activities. So we always have to, like what people did in New Zealand with Maori people. So they also use the traditional Maori people in New Zealand to protect the local community in New Zealand. And it has been very successful as well. So I think that's all because I don't have enough time. So, but I will welcome any feedback or comments, and then we can have more discussion in discussion and section inshallah. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. So I'll return back to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Feby, for an absolutely excellent presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to share evaluation link. So if you want to get certificate to this webinar, you have to fill the evaluation link. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to discussion section. We have so many questions from the participant, but I will read selected questions that get most vote to get an answer from the speaker. The first speaker is attend for the Dr. Kaiser Shakil.
Yes, you can read the question.
Okay. The first question is for the Dr. Kaiser Shakil. The question is, how effective help improve body immune when human was infected SARS-CoV-2, or most effective if they still help?
Regarding the improvement in immunity, the question is about how effective have improved the body immunity. As far as the research is concerned, I was searching about the exact results are the, you can say the clear-cut data about the improvement in immunity. There is not certain figure that we can say that herbs are improving this much the immunity, but they say they have some effect on the immunity. So you can use these herbs to improve the immunity like Dr. Fabi and Professor also mentioned the use of tea and something like that. So this is, I just message that I strongly agree with Dr. Fabi that community involvement, it is far more important regarding the communication, regarding the message, regarding about proper dissemination of proper information. So we need a proper knowledge before using any herb to avoid any misconception or avoid any side effect.
Thank you, Dr. Kaisal Shakil. For the second question is for the second speaker to Professor Hatil. The question is, geographically Sudan is wide area with a different climates. Are those herbal medicine can found in all the part of Sudan? Please, please, Professor Hatil, may you answer for the question, please?
Yeah. Some of most prominent herbs used in Sudan, mainly for as antibacterial and antifungal and antiviral, mainly in central Sudan and some in western Sudan. Rich regions with variety, diversity of herbal remedies continuously using since more than ancient time. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Professor Hatil, for the answer. We are going to the third question. The third question is for Dr. Judiono. The question is, can a human being develop a long-standing immune against COVID-19 to consider vaccination as a solve for the issue? Please, Dr. Judiono, maybe you can answer the question.
Yeah, in the relation with my answer that I have already delivered to the penanya, ya itu that when we talk about the long-standing about immune, in the normal case, I mean that case of influenza or pneumonia, it is can be treated by increasing immune in the body. But in the case of the COVID-19, because this virus has already mutated, that it's very difficult to use the normal increasing of the immune in the body. So that way, we use other food and also dietetic using of we hope that it can prevent about the pandemic of COVID-19. I mean that when the COVID is not, we can find about the mechanism. So I think very difficult to say about this make immune for long standing. I mean that we need looking for other solution about the COVID treatment, especially by vaccine first, because the virus have already mutated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Judiono, for the answer. The last question is for Dr. Febi Rahmadi. The question for Dr. Febi Rahmadi, many people in Indonesia have different perception about vaccine conspiration. How about in Australia? How to anticipate and manage second wave situation? Please, Dr. Febi Rahmadi, would you like to give an explanation for the question?
Okay, I think in all country they have this type of people who think that COVID-19 is a conspiracy So no matter in Australia, in America, in maybe in Sudan, or maybe in Pakistan as well, of course in Indonesia as well. So there is some people who believe. So some people think that COVID-19 is about belief. It's like climate change. Some people, they don't believe in climate change. Some people, they don't believe in COVID-19. All right. So that is something that is quite dangerous, I would say. So government here has to play a very important role. So that's why in my presentations, and it is also related to herbal medicine as well. So I think just now in Indonesia, they're quite, a big news about herbal medicine, developed by somebody in Indonesia, but it hasn't been proven effective. Okay, so government has a very important role here in the context of building public confidence. So they need to provide what is going on actually. So what is happening here? So the government has to be, they have to build, trust. And here, of course, media play a very important role. So government, when people don't trust government, it is very difficult for us to then manage the perception of the community. All right. So that's why what we did here in Australia. So it is not only the government themselves. So the government also, like for instance, about Eid. So last week there was Eid, right? Eid festival. So one of the committee for the Indonesian Muslim Center here in Queensland. So police called me because I was one of the member of a committee. So they encourage us not to organize Eid prayer because that will be, potential transmission will be, the risk of community transmission will be very high if we do Eid festival, Eid prayer congregation. So that's why we canceled, or we don't have any Eid festival here in Eid prayer. We all pray at home. So that means they also have to involve, community member, involve, cultural member, and that's how we try to manage. Even Australia has done their, their how to say, Australia has been considered as one of the best player in terms of this COVID-19, but currently Victoria, they're experiencing the second wave. So although that we have implemented as best as possible way to prevent, this COVID-19 to come back to Australia, we are experiencing COVID-19 the second wave. Even the case is much more than what we are experiencing in the first wave. So it is something that we need to do it together. So information, public communications, we, of course, government has to be, they have to play the bigger role. However, we as, like, for instance, we as the university, entity, for instance, research institutions, we need to help the government to provide, reliable information to the society. That is now, we cannot, perception is something that we cannot change in just like one night. So it has to be done, slowly, but it has to be done effectively as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Feby Rahmadi. Okay, all participants, we are going to the most interesting section. A discussant has ready to share with us to discuss our topic today. Someone who familiar we often see on TV, hosting show on Kompas TV. He is Mr. Yasir Nene Ama. Mr. Yasir Nene Ama was born in East Flores, Indonesia on June 13, 1989. His educational background, bachelor degree in Nutrition Community Institute Pertanian Bogor in 2012. Work experience on Metro TV as reporter at 2012 until 2014. Junior producer 2015. Now he is a presenter in Kompas TV for program Berita Utama and program Kriminal Gelar Perkara. He is also a reporter for the Palace of the Vice President of the Republic Indonesia. Mr. Yasir Nene Ama will convey his discussion in Bahasa Indonesia to promote Bahasa Indonesia as international language. So, kepada Mr. Yasir Nenek Ama, dipersilahkan.
Thank you, Ibu Sumita, as a moderator. Thank you for the time. Let me present my presentation with bahasa, karena beberapa materi yang saya sampaikan ini mengandung ataupun berkaitan dengan pemberitaan di Indonesia, begitu. Boleh ke presentasinya? Let me click my presentation.
Sedang loading, Pak Nasir.
Oke, siap.
Silakan, Pak Yasir.
Ya, new normal TV media coverage. Bagaimana TV media televisi di Indonesia ini memberitakan soal new normal yang ada di Indonesia. Nah, kalau kita lihat, next slide please. Oke, current issue yang di coverage oleh TV media Indonesia diantaranya adalah COVID-19 case in Indonesia. Seberapa banyak kasus COVID-19 di Indonesia? Tadi kalau kita lihat sudah dijelaskan juga oleh Dr. Sugianto soal bagaimana jumlah kasus COVID-19 in Indonesia. Kemudian bagaimana pemerintah melakukan penanganan atau how the government handling to COVID-19 Indonesia. Dan yang ketiga adalah seperti apa innovation dan juga creativity, inovasi dan juga kreativitas yang dilakukan oleh masyarakat dalam masa new normal ini. Ini adalah 3 current issue yang menjadi poin pemberitaan selama pandemi COVID-19 atau selama era new normal ini. Kita ke yang pertama, yaitu bagaimana COVID-19, kasus COVID-19 di Indonesia. Nah, patokan dari pemberitaan yang dilakukan di Indonesia ataupun di media itu adalah situs covid19.go.id. Di situ adalah situs resmi Satgas COVID-19 di Indonesia, dan di situ kita bisa mengupdate seluruh data yang ada di Indonesia terkait dengan perkembangan COVID-19. Nah, kalau kita lihat data terakhir kemarin itu sudah di angka 130.718 dengan peningkatan itu cukup banyak ini setiap harinya, lebih dari 1.000. Lalu seperti apa pemberitaan yang kami lakukan terkait dengan kasus COVID-19 ini? Kompas TV sendiri melakukan pemberitaannya dengan mengambil kasus per wilayah. Tujuannya adalah untuk menggambarkan bahwa peningkatan COVID-19 di Indonesia itu masif dan benar-benar terjadi sehingga aware masyarakat itu tuh benar-benar tercipta. Kita boleh diputarkan videonya? 11 orang guru di Kabupaten Rembang, Jawa Tengah dinyatakan positif COVID-19. Aktivitas sekolah pun dihentikan sementara. Kasus terkonfirmasi positif COVID-19 di wilayah Majalengka, Jawa Barat kembali bertambah. Di wilayah Majalengka, penambahan kasus terkonfirmasi positif COVID-19 mencapai 300%. Saudara, setelah satu perawat puskesmas Kunduran Blora yang terkonfirmasi positif COVID-19 pada Selasa ini, diketahui 4 petugas medis lainnya di puskesmas yang sama ternyata terkonfirmasi positif COVID-19. Saudara, kasus terkonfirmasi positif COVID-19 di Kota Cimahi, Jawa Barat melonjak drastis. Rumah Sakit Umum Daerah Cibabat menjadi penyumbang terbanyak pasien positif COVID-19, di mana sebanyak 15 pegawai RSUD Cibabat terkonfirmasi positif COVID-19. Nah, jadi seperti ini pemberitaan yang dilakukan oleh media televisi, mengambil contoh-contoh kasus yang terjadi di wilayah, seperti apa peningkatan kasusnya. Tujuannya adalah agar masyarakat itu tahu bahwa memang benar terjadi peningkatan COVID-19 yang signifikan, yang banyak, meskipun kita telah memasuki era new normal. Ini tujuannya adalah agar masyarakat tentu saja harus aware bahwa di masa new normal ini bukannya kita malah santai-santai, bukannya kita melonggarkan protokol kesehatan, tapi kita harus meningkatkan aware kita terhadap protokol kesehatan tersebut. Nah, next slide. 11 orang guru di Kabupaten Rembang, Jawa Tengah dinyatakan positif COVID-19. Gubernur Jawa Barat Ridwan Kamil pun menyatakan. Lalu seperti apa dengan di Jawa Barat? Ini yang menjadi sorotan. Jawa Barat akhirnya masuk menjadi 5 besar provinsi dengan tingkat virus corona tertinggi di Indonesia. Kenapa demikian? Nah, dalam pemberitaan media yang kita lakukan, tentu saja kita juga harus mendapatkan sumber informasi dari orang terpercaya. Mungkin ke depannya Dr. Judiono ataupun nanti Dr. Feby bisa menjadi narasumber kami, begitu, yang bisa memberikan insight-insight ataupun masukan-masukan terkait dengan seperti apa penanganan di bidang kesehatan terkait dengan pandemi COVID-19. Tapi untuk jumlahnya seperti apa, biasanya tim media itu akan mendapatkan informasi dari orang terpercaya, yaitu dari Gubernur Jawa Barat. Jadi ketika kita bilang Jawa Barat masuk 5 besar kasus COVID-19 di Indonesia, kita punya dasarnya. Ini tujuannya apa? Agar publik itu tahu bahwa, wih, ternyata COVID-19 itu bukan main-main. COVID-19 itu adalah masalah serius yang harus sama-sama kita atasi. Boleh di-play? Gubernur Jawa Barat Ridwan Kamil pun menyampaikan bahwa Jawa Barat menjadi provinsi yang paling rawan dari penyebaran virus corona. Ridwan Kamil menyatakan bahwa Jawa Barat berada di posisi kelima dengan jumlah kasus virus corona terbanyak di Indonesia. Oke, kita next. Lalu pertanyaan selanjutnya, melihat kasus seperti ini, how government handling to COVID-19? Ini menjadi pertanyaan kita bersama, seperti apa pemerintah melakukan ataupun mencegah penanggulangan ataupun melakukan penanggulangan terhadap COVID-19 ini. Yang terbaru adalah bagaimana Presiden Joko Widodo ini telah meninjau uji coba vaksin COVID-19 di Bandung. Tentu saja ini menjadi sebuah informasi penting buat kita semua, karena dengan menyebarkan informasi ini masyarakat juga menjadi aman, masyarakat juga menjadi tenang. Oh, akhirnya COVID-19, virus corona ini akhirnya sudah ada obatnya, tapi masih dalam uji coba vaksin COVID-19. Ini yang juga menjadi pemberitaan kita. Kita play. Nah, di sini yang kita tinjau adalah seperti apa uji klinis tahap ketiga vaksin Sinovac Tiongkok mulai dilakukan hari ini. Presiden Joko Widodo meninjau sejumlah tempat pengujian yang dilakukan, termasuk tempat pengujian vaksin di Rumah Sakit Pendidikan Universitas Pajajaran. Presiden Joko Widodo bertemu dengan para penguji dan juga sukarelawan pengujian vaksin COVID-19 di Rumah Sakit Pendidikan Universitas Pajajaran atau RSP Unpad Bandung. Presiden didampingi oleh Gubernur Jawa Barat Ridwan Kamil, Ketua Komite Penanganan COVID-19 Erick Thohir, dan Kepala BNPB Doni Monardo. Selain ke RSP Unpad, Presiden juga menemui pembuat vaksin di Bio Farma. Bio Farma dipercaya sebagai pembuat vaksin yang dikembangkan oleh perusahaan farmasi Sinovac dari Tiongkok. Nah, ini adalah salah satu berita baik buat Indonesia, karena akhirnya ada uji coba vaksin COVID-19. Namun ternyata dalam pemberitaan yang kita lakukan, kita tidak hanya memberikan angin segar kepada masyarakat soal, oh sudah ada uji coba nih vaksin Sinovac yang akan dilakukan di Indonesia. Tapi kita harus mendetail lagi seperti apa uji coba itu dilakukan, kriteria para volunteer yang melakukan uji coba, terus itu seperti apa efek samping yang diberikan terhadap uji coba vaksin yang diberikan, dan tentu saja pertanyaan umum dari masyarakat adalah kapan ini vaksin bisa benar-benar digunakan oleh masyarakat untuk menyembuhkan coronavirus ini. Nah, di sini juga dijelaskan bahwa Airlangga Hartarto selaku Menko Perekonomian menyatakan bahwa ternyata ini baru uji coba dan vaksinnya baru bisa digunakan ataupun baru bisa dikonsumsi oleh masyarakat untuk pengobatan coronavirus ini pada Januari ataupun pada tahun depan. Tentu saja ini masih butuh waktu yang lama, dan pada masa itu tentu saja yang harus kita lakukan adalah protokol kesehatan. Kemudian poin kedua yang saya sampaikan, bagaimana pemerintah untuk menanggulangi COVID-19 di Indonesia, tentu saja adalah sosialisasi protokol kesehatan. Ini juga menjadi salah satu current issue yang selalu kami lakukan dalam pemberitaan di media televisi. Next. Nah, ya. Oke, nah ini dia, sosialisasi protokol kesehatan. Tadi aku lihat di slide-nya Dr. Feby, kalau tidak salah itu penting banget untuk melakukan sosialisasi protokol kesehatan. Ini tidak hanya dilakukan oleh para pemangku kebijakan saja, teman-teman ataupun para peserta webinar ini ataupun para narasumber yang ada di sini, tapi ini menjadi tugas kita bersama, begitu. Tidak hanya orang yang memiliki kemampuan akademisi yang baik seperti para narasumber ini yang boleh Yang mereka aja nih yang boleh melakukan sosialisasi protokol kesehatan karena mereka memiliki kemampuan yang baik di bidang keilmuan ataupun akademisi. Tidak, karena semua orang memiliki kesempatan yang sama ikut berpartisipasi dalam melakukan sosialisasi terhadap protokol kesehatan ini. Bahkan Presiden Joko Widodo sendiri yang telah menerbitkan Inpres nomor 6 tahun 2020 kemarin terkait dengan sanksi pelanggaran protokol kesehatan. Semua pihak diminta untuk sama-sama melakukan sosialisasi protokol kesehatan agar benar-benar ini bisa diterapkan oleh masyarakat. Karena apa? Pemberitaan ini sangat penting dan harapannya bisa kita lakukan. Karena apa? Karena memang saat ini belum ada vaksin. Sehingga salah satu cara yang dilakukan untuk mencegah ataupun menekan penyebaran virus corona yaitu patuh terhadap protokol kesehatan. Ini mudah, kalau kita lihat tuh mudah sekali. Kalau kita lihat bagaimana sosialisasi yang dilakukan oleh pemerintah sangat masif. Tapi apakah sosialisasi ini dapat diterima oleh masyarakat? Begitu, kita lihat di slide selanjutnya. Boleh di-play videonya? Pertama, saudara, razia masker di kawasan Salemba, Tengah Jakarta Pusat diwarnai aksi kabur-kaburan dari sejumlah pengendara. Mereka yang tidak memakai masker langsung ditindak di lokasi. Satu persatu pengendara sepeda motor yang tidak menggunakan masker berupaya kabur dari razia petugas. Namun yang tertangkap langsung ditindak di tempat. Sesuai dengan peraturan, mereka yang tidak menggunakan masker saat aktivitas di luar rumah harus membayar denda atau melakukan pekerjaan sosial sebagai pelanggar. Nah, ini menunjukkan, ini adalah salah satu potret bagaimana ternyata pemerintah yang telah membuat sosialisasi, kemudian pemerintah juga telah mengeluarkan impres, peraturan, kemudian ada hukuman. Tapi razia ini membuktikan bahwa ternyata kesadaran masyarakat terhadap sosialisasi ataupun terhadap pelaksanaan protokol kesehatan ini masih rendah, bisa dikatakan seperti itu. Karena jumlah kasus COVID-19 di Indonesia juga tetap meningkat. Kemudian kalau kita lihat pemberitaan-pemberitaan, nih masyarakat ini abai terhadap protokol kesehatan. Lalu siapa nih sebenarnya yang harus disalahkan? Ini yang akhirnya menjadi salah satu potret bagaimana kami media televisi ini ingin menggambarkan pemerintah telah melakukan berbagai upaya. Vaksin telah dilakukan uji coba, kemudian seluruh elemen masyarakat diminta untuk sosialisasi protokol kesehatan, dan tentu saja nih saya berharap nih para narasumber yang terhormat, para senior-senior dengan beragam kedisiplinan ilmu di sini juga ikut berpartisipasi dalam sosialisasi protokol kesehatan. Tapi kenapa masyarakat masih lalai, masih tidak mematuhi protokol kesehatan? Ini yang akhirnya menjadi concern kita bersama untuk hayo gencar untuk mematuhi protokol kesehatan ini. Next slide please. Oke. Nah, tidak hanya sosialisasi protokol kesehatan, upaya pemerintah yang juga menjadi salah satu current isu pemberitaan di media adalah bagaimana sudah ada stimulus ekonomi. Kita ketahui Sri Mulyani, Menteri Keuangan, telah mengeluarkan stimulus ekonomi tahap ketiga, kemudian diantaranya adalah pencairan gaji ke-13 PNS, kemudian yang kemarin sempat menjadi sorotan adalah stimulus tambahan berupa 2,4 juta untuk para pekerja yang memiliki gaji di bawah 5 juta rupiah. Ini menjadi sebuah stimulus, tapi kembali lagi, Menteri Keuangan Sri Mulyani tetap menyatakan bahwa semua itu dilakukan agar mendorong konsumsi masyarakat. Nah, yang kita lakukan seperti apa nih dengan mengawal isu ini? Kita harus memastikan bahwa pemerintah diminta untuk memastikan pelaksanaan stimulus ekonomi ini secara optimal. Itu penting sehingga masyarakat itu merasa nyaman. Oke, ternyata informasi ini ataupun stimulus ekonomi ini dilakukan dengan baik di masyarakat. Tapi yang juga menjadi sorotan adalah kita juga harus ikut mengkritik. Nah, di sini ada salah satu artikel yang saya cuplik, maaf, stimulus ekonomi ini tidak akan bisa berdampak kalau masyarakat lagi-lagi tidak mematuhi protokol kesehatan. Sehingga sosialisasi protokol kesehatan ini menjadi hal yang penting dan ini menjadi salah satu current issue yang saya ingin tekankan di sini agar kita sama-sama, hayo para peserta webinar ini, para narasumber yang memiliki otoritas di bidangnya masing-masing, ayo kita sama-sama untuk melakukan sosialisasi terhadap protokol kesehatan ini. Next. Nah, new normal, inovasi dan juga kreativitas. Ini yang saya ambil, topik ini yang saya ambil karena kita lihat banyak perubahan-perubahan yang terjadi. Tadi saya kalau kita lihat bagaimana tadi penjelasan dari Dr. Kaisar terkait dengan pemanfaatan lokal resources ataupun ya pemanfaatan sumber lokal seperti herbal di Indonesia. Kemudian tadi juga saya mendengar pemaparan dari Profesor Hatif Hasim terkait dengan bagaimana pemanfaatan dari sumber-sumber daya alam di lokal yang bisa dimanfaatkan untuk ketahanan tubuh kita. Tadi Dr. Feby juga menjelaskan hal yang sama, bagaimana memanfaatkan kondisi new normal ini dengan inovasi dan kreativitas. Ternyata ketika kita melihat pemberitaan di Indonesia, banyak warga yang sudah melakukan hal itu. Yang paling viral terbaru adalah kisah pilot yang menjadi pedagang mie ayam yang bertahan di tengah pandemi. Ini merupakan salah satu bukti bahwa ketika era new normal itu datang, mau tidak mau kita harus melakukan yang namanya inovasi dan juga kreativitas. Inovasi di bidang apa? Inovasi seperti apa? Inovasi untuk bertahan hidup. Banyak pekerjaan yang akhirnya terbengkalai. Nah, ini bisa jadi salah satu challenge kita untuk menumbuhkan creativity. Mungkin teman-teman Poltekkes ataupun teman-teman webinar ini lihat nih judul, peluang bisnis kesehatan digital di tengah pandemi COVID-19. Ini bisa jadi salah satu cara juga untuk teman-teman peserta webinar ini untuk bisa mengembangkan, menggrow up kemampuan diri mereka untuk bisa bertahan di masa new normal ini. Tidak hanya itu, geliat inovasi bisnis empon-empon di kampung jamu saat pandemi COVID-19. Kita berbicara soal herbal, kita berbicara soal local resources. Nah, ini yang juga bisa menjadi pemberitaan kita. Sehingga ketika kita bilang masyarakat masyarakat acuh terhadap new normal, masyarakat tidak peduli, tidak semua benar. Karena ada masyarakat yang memang sudah menerapkan protokol kesehatan itu dan mereka juga telah melakukan inovasi dan juga kreativitas mereka di masa new normal ini. Ini yang juga harus kita blow up pemberitaannya di media. Tujuannya apa? Agar bisa mempengaruhi masyarakat-masyarakat lain, mempengaruhi masyarakat yang abai, sehingga mereka pun juga ikut patuh dengan protokol kesehatan. Tugas kami sebagai media ini hanya sebagai penyambung. Biasanya kami memanfaatkan para narasumber-narasumber yang memang bisa dibilang expert di bidangnya. Mungkin ke depannya bisa wawancara Dr. Judiono ataupun Dr. Feby yang memiliki pengalaman yang luar biasa ke depannya, ataupun para narasumber lainnya seperti Dr. Kaisar ataupun Profesor Hatif untuk membantu gitu. Sehingga kami para media ini hanya membantu mensosialisasikan kepada masyarakat. Tujuannya sama, kembali lagi tujuannya agar masyarakat itu patuh terhadap protokol kesehatan. Nah, ini bagaimana inovasi untuk bertahan hidup. Lalu next slide. Apakah hanya inovasi dan juga kreativitas untuk bertahan hidup? Tidak, karena kita lihat bahwa di masa new normal ini kepedulian terhadap masyarakat pun juga cukup tinggi. Ada artikel yang menarik, salut. Difabel Blora ini galang dana untuk sembako warga yang terdampak corona. Harapan saya, dan semoga ini sudah dilakukan oleh teman-teman dari Poltekkes ataupun teman-teman peserta webinar, di masa new normal ini menimbulkan empati kita yang luar biasa untuk saling berbagi. Ini yang harus kita lakukan. Kalau kita lihat sekarang pemberitaan juga soal warga anak-anak yang kesulitan untuk sekolah daring. Nah, di sini ada penggalangan dana untuk membantu pembelian handphone ataupun pemberian WiFi gratis untuk para anak-anak yang tidak memiliki jaringan internet atau apa. Nah, ini yang berusaha untuk terus diberitakan oleh kami para OEK Media, sehingga awareness ataupun kepedulian masyarakat, terus itu masyarakat yang selama ini abai terhadap protokol kesehatan, masyarakat yang selama ini cuek terhadap protokol kesehatan dan juga cuek dengan COVID-19 ini bisa sadar bahwa COVID-19 virus corona itu bukan virus yang menyerang perorangan, tapi dia bisa menular dengan cepat. Sehingga untuk mencegahnya, yaitu kembali lagi protokol kesehatan. Nah, ini ada sebuah video yang bisa menjadi salah satu ide juga ataupun konsep dari teman-teman semuanya.
Untuk sosialisasikan bahaya COVID-19 melalui mural di tembok kota, para seniman mengajak warga berupaya bersama untuk memutus mata rantai penyebaran virus corona.
Beragam cara dilakukan untuk berpartisipasi dalam memutus penyebaran COVID-19. Sejumlah komunitas seniman di Kabupaten Cianjur, Jawa Barat menjadikan tembok-tembok kota sebagai ruang kreasi sekaligus media edukasi bagi warga.
Nah, ini adalah salah satu contoh hal kecil yang bisa kita lakukan. Kalau melihat contoh lagi banyak, tapi kalau kita berbicara contoh, buat apa kalau kita sendiri tidak melakukannya? Seperti itu. Sehingga tadi saya meskipun jadi sesi pembicara terakhir, tapi tadi saya senang sekali gitu kan bisa mendengarkan semua pemaparan dari para narasumber. Hal ini bertujuan agar bisa menambah wawasan saya dan juga teman-teman webinar di sini, sehingga kalau kita lihat tadi presentasi yang disampaikan adalah hal-hal yang benar-benar relate terjadi di masyarakat kita. Seperti apa kita bisa memanfaatkan sumber daya alam kita di lingkungan sekitar kita, local resource, kemudian kita bagaimana kita melihat perkembangan ataupun masalah dari COVID-19 ini seperti sebagai sebuah masalah epidemiologi kesehatan masyarakat yang harus sama-sama kita tangani. Kemudian tadi penjelasan dari Dr. Judiono juga menggambarkan bahwa ini bukan hal yang main-main begitu. Tapi semua penjelasan dari para narasumber ini akan percuma kalau kita tidak memiliki ataupun kita tidak memiliki langkah konkret. Apa nih yang harus saya lakukan setelah mengikuti webinar ini? Itu yang harapan saya ini yang bisa menjadi sama-sama kita pikirkan bersama. Seperti saya sudah berpikir bahwa setelah ini saya akan menghubungi para teman-teman Poltekkes, ayo kalian punya inovasi apa, kalian punya materi apa, saya bisa bantu untuk memblow up di stasiun Kompas TV, harapannya agar bisa memberikan contoh yang baik kepada masyarakat. Dr. Feby yang lagi ada di Australia, ayo di sana ada apa? Contoh baik apa di Australia yang bisa kita ambil, bisa kita liput untuk bisa kita gunakan ataupun bisa kita jadikan contoh peliputan sehingga bisa menjadi contoh yang baik di Indonesia. Nah, itu yang harus sama-sama kita lakukan. Pun pembicara-pembicara lain seperti Dr. Kaisar, kemudian ada Profesor Hatif gitu. Kita juga bisa mengambil contoh-contoh yang baik dari mereka dan bisa kita publikasikan lewat media sehingga bisa memberikan dampak yang positif buat kita. Seperti itu. Ini yang menjadi harapan kita bersama, ini yang menjadi harapan saya, dan saya biasanya dalam melakukan pemberitaan ataupun melakukan pembacaan berita, saya juga melakukan hal yang sederhana seperti slide selanjutnya, slide terakhir saya. Ya, ini slide terakhir saya, Mbak Sumita.
Malam edisi kali ini, saudara. Ingat, tetap patuhi protokol kesehatan saat kita beraktivitas. Saya Yasir Nenek Ama pamit. Terima kasih. Sampai jumpa.
Ya, ingat selalu patuhi protokol kesehatan, gunakan masker, mencuci tangan, dan juga menjaga jarak. Ini bukan tugas dari para narasumber saja, ini bukan tugas dari para akademisi saja, para dosen-dosen kita, tapi ini tugas kita semua. Apapun profesi kamu, ayo sama-sama kita sosialisasikan protokol kesehatan ini. Thank you for the time buat saya. Nah, saya kembalikan kepada Ibu Sumita as a moderator.
Terima kasih, Mr. Yasir. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Yasir shared us about what's the new slide about COVID-19, especially COVID-19 case in Indonesia, that every day there are about 1,000 new cases of COVID-19 in Indonesia. To resolve the problem, Indonesian government has some effort in the field of health, such as Sinovac vaccine trial in Bandung and socialization of health protocol. And in the economic file, such as economic stimulus, such as innovation and creativity of residents at the COVID pandemic 19. We still have one discussion. She is Dr. Carlia Mehta. Dr. Carlia Mehta from School of Life of Science and Technology, Institut Teknologi Bandung. Her educational background, bachelor degree in biology program in Institut Teknologi Bandung in 2006, Master of Science in Biotechnology program in Institut Teknologi Bandung in 2010, and PhD in plant biology in the University of Western Australia in 2017. Ms. Mehta, would you like to give a statement or review about our theme today? Ms. Mehta, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Surmita. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very fortunate moment for me to present this at the last, because then I have to review all the speakers that have talked before I do now. So this is a very good initiative from the Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung to hold this international webinar on the utilization of local resources for health improvement and community empowerment in the new normal. During the past 3 hours, we have heard our speakers emphasizing the potential of herbal remedies and functional food to improve our immune systems towards viral infection, as well as the importance of community engagement for effective COVID-19 measures. So the first 3 speakers, they were talking about more of the health aspects from the, let's say, biological and medicine aspects. And the last 2 speakers, it was also interesting for me, for example, the last 2 speakers, that's kind of giving me new perspectives on this condition, especially the last speaker from Mr. Yasir. It's like a summary of the news that we can see in just 15 to 20 minutes during his talk, and we suddenly know everything in Indonesia about COVID-19. So at the beginning, Dr. Shakil from Pakistan, he highlighted the health benefit of herbs, which include the provide relief from toothache and bad breath. So we know that these herbs could act also as antibacterial. And then herbs also can reduce the risk of cancer and Alzheimer's disease. So this indicates the modulation of function in molecular machineries triggered by the consumption of herbs. Also to help in maintaining healthy skin and hair. So eating herbs will make you look good. You need to remember that. And last but not least, he also mentioned that herbs is important to strengthen our immune system. And in other speakers, we also heard that these herbs also provide antioxidant and so on. Dr. Shakil also underlined the role of antiviral activity of herbs against both SARS-CoV-1 and 2. Which to inhibit virus penetration and proliferation, also to suppress the risk of acute lung injury in infected organisms. So from the examples that he showed, mostly are in animals, and we're going to see soon perhaps in human or clinical trials. Because the screening potential of active components from traditional herbal medicine is a viable strategy that should not be dismissed. So we have to dig deeper on this potential of herbs, local in Indonesia or from other countries, because as we see, they have so many medicinal benefit for our bodies, for our health. But also it is important to remember that a rush judgment without sufficient scientific evidence should be cautioned against. Okay, so from Dr. Shakil, we then also saw the wonderful plants of Sudan that have been long known for their key role in traditional medicine as delivered by Professor El Kamali. Well, in words, Sudan and Sunda are very similar. That's why perhaps we also see the similarities in local remedies in both communities, such as the Rosella. So we also familiar with that, Rosella tea, a very nice thirst quencher, high in antioxidant, which protect us from radicals that continuously damage our molecular machines. And we also familiar with garlic. We use that every day here in Sunda, in Bandung for our food. It's a delicious bulb. And the substance allicin is also well known for their property in suppressing gastric diseases. Also sweet basil, perhaps kemangi, it's also very well known here. It's a good herbs for us. Many antimicrobial herbal medicine in Sudan possesses simultaneous antibacterial, antifungal, antiprotozoal, and or antiviral properties. Therefore, the broad spectrum activity may help to prevent microbial resistance to herbal medicine. Professor El Kamali also mentioned that the incidence of infection in Sudan is limited, and this is very good. And he thought that the reason for this may be that was due to the high level of curative and nutritive culture of Sudanese. So yeah, that is a very, very good notion on that. However, clinical studies and trials must be carried out, especially for herbal extracts that prove to be possessing high antiviral properties. So for everybody working on herbal, on local plants, in medicine, this is a very exciting time actually to keep on doing your research on looking for something new, some new compound or the activity of the compound for our health on traditional remedies, especially for viral infection. Following the talk from Professor El Kamali, we heard a very insightful explanation from Dr. Judiono on the role of functional and local food characteristics to increase immunity in the pandemics and post-COVID-19. His talk emphasized on the importance of consuming a balanced diet as well as to include foods that are high in antioxidant to improve our immune system and to combat inflammation if we are infected. So he also explained about immunomodulators, which are the substances or supplements to restore the balance of the compromised immune systems, and then immunostimulants to increase the components of the immune systems, and then immunosuppressive, a compound used to suppress immune response, such as preventing transplant and rejection, or for treating autoimmunity. Dr. Giudiono also emphasized the role of pigments in increasing the immune system activity. So it's good for you to eat natural and colorful fruits. So for example, he also showed us like tomatoes, carrots. So anything colorful, green, orange, purple, red, or any color, well, natural food, I mean natural color of the food, not that the food they use coloring from the chemicals, it's good for you. So it's very easy for you to choose healthy food. Just choose by the color. They must be rich in antioxidant, also rich in prebiotic, which is very good, again, for our microbiome, for our probiotic. And then in the case of exposure to COVID-19, there is a huge inflammatory storm that causes damage to multiple organs in the body. The role of food and functional functional food needs to be socialized in the community, I mean, to overcome this problem as well. And then on the last talk, we got a different perspective on COVID-19. Dr. Dwi Rahmadi focuses on the role of community engagement in COVID-19 mitigation. The first message was there is no quick fix or shortcut to deal with this problem. And then we see more from the last speaker, Mr. Yasir. Vaccine clinical tests prior to widely markets, we all know that currently also happening in Indonesia, as Dr. Dwi Rahmadi also mentioned in his talk. In Indonesia, it is now on the third clinical phase, and we hope that this will be ready in 2021, if not by the mid-2021, then by the late 2021. And Dr. Dwi Rahmadi also gave some example of the strict rule, I would say, strict rule of social distancing in Australia. Yeah, I would agree. In Australia, everything is stricter than in Indonesia. And it seems that everyone follow the rules there. Perhaps it's the community engagement which is better in Australia than in Indonesia. It seems that everyone would want to contribute to the relief of this COVID-19 storm. So they do what the government told them to do. So yeah, that's just my impression though. And he also emphasized to avoid individual-centric, to put forward community-centric first if we are to free ourselves from this COVID-19 storm. And in the epidemiologic triad, he mentioned three important points, which is the agent, host, and the environment. And the two manageable ones are the host, which are us, the human, and we also can manage our environment to also suppress this COVID-19 storm. He also emphasized that the engagement as the foundation of the whole society approach. So we really have to communicate better with all people in Indonesia as the government to the public, and then they have to engage. We have to consider this as all our problem, and we are together in combating this pandemic. Okay, in the end, I would like to appreciate again the Center of Excellence, Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung, for holding this international webinar. I hope this COE will continue its role in this education to public in COVID-19 eradication. And to everyone, please always remember and do the 3M. Thank you for the time, Ibu Surmita.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta, for your brief discussion explanation. Well, let's wrap up our event. We hope Center of Excellence Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung increasingly successful in the next future. On behalf of the name of sponsoring organizing, thank you for all speakers, Dr. Kaisar Shakil, Professor Hatil, Dr. Judiono, Dr. Febi, Mr. Yasir Nene Ama, and also Dr. Mehta. Thank you for sharing this with us. It has been my pleasure to be a moderator at this event. I wish you all a pleasant day. I will back this event to Master of Ceremony, Ms. Mira, to continue to the next supplementary section. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ms. Mira, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Surmita, for the nice moderator for today. Thank you also for all the speakers and also our discussion, Mr. Yasir and also Ibu Mehta. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is now the end for our session. There is a supplement section. Yeah. For the supplement section, we will present our outstanding students from Polytechnic Kesehatan Bandung. There will be 3 students will present their products, which are first Anissa Retni Maharani, outstanding student from Pharmacy Department. The second is Salma Arifin from Environmental Health Department. And the last one, Shifa Azhari Nur Habibah from Nutrition Department. Each of students will present 5 minutes, so in total 15, no more than 15 minutes for total. So please, our students to present the product. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the master of the ceremony for giving this amazing opportunities. And okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Anissa Retni Maharani, the 3rd year student of Pharmacy Department and Health Polytechnic. And in this moment, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to explain about my product. There is the chewable lozenge tablet that contain Camphor galanga rhizome extract for oral candidiasis complementary therapy. Okay, all of the audience, as we know, the oral cavity is the initial entry of food, drinks, and also microorganisms that can be potentially pathogenic. And one of the common case of the oral infection caused by the fungus is the oral candidiasis. The oral candidiasis is one of the oral infection caused by the fungus named Candida albicans that accumulated in the oral cavity and occurring the lesion. But in the other side, Indonesia has a lot of herbal medicine, a lot of the herbal plant that can be utilizing as a medicine. But how it can be a medicine? According to some research, the Camphor galanga, the familiar one, it has the antifungal activity. According to the Taufikur Rahmah 2005, the ethyl paramethexycyanate is known as the main compound in the Camphor galanga and is widely used as an antifungal. Okay, how it can be a medicine? So I make the product utilizing the herbal plants. There is the Camphor galanga to make the chewable lozenge tablets. These tablets or this product is intended for local use in the oral cavity that is disintegrating by chewing, and it will be increasing the surface area and also increasing the effectiveness between the substance of the tablet to contact with the fungus. Very well, the dosage of the extract of the Camphyra galanga rhizome is, according to the research, is the 1,200 milligrams, and the weight of the tablets is 3 grams and containing 300 milligrams per tablet. And how to use this tablet, how to use this product? This product or this tablet can be used consuming 2 times 2 tablets a day for oral candidiasis complementary therapy. Okay, the implementation of the tablet of the products, it can be consuming for the oral candidiasis patient, especially for the geriatric patient or pediatric patient, also the another oral candidiasis patient who have the difficulty for swallowing, because it's formulated using the sweeteners to get the acceptable taste, and also the shape or the texture of this tablet is like a gummy candy, so it's more acceptable taste for the pediatric. Very well, the advantages of the tablets of this product is the tablet preparation are not easily out, and also more stable in storage, because this tablet the research, these tablets or this extract of the Campheriganarism is not only used for the antifungal, but has anti-nociceptive, anti-diarrheal, antibacterial, and many more. So these tablets or this product can be developed for another uses, for another activity, for another pharmacological activity. So I hope this product, it can be one of the innovation to improving the health quality in Indonesia especially, and also supporting uh, the health aspect around the world. Very well, that's all my explanation about my product. The next presentation will be held by my friends. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Anissa Retni. I'll be continuing with my slide. So hello, my name is Salma Arpin. I'm a third year university student of Bandung Health Polytechnic, and I'm here as one of the panelists for the supplement of the international seminar held by Bandung Health Polytechnic. On this occasion, I'll be presenting my short presentation of my innovation as the exemplary student from my department, which is Department of Environmental Health or Sanitation. So I would like to introduce my innovation on a hand washing tool that could be used to wash our hands, especially during the pandemic. So the tool that I made is called Wastable, which stands for Wastafel Daur Orang Portable in Indonesian, or reusable portable water sink in English. So what's so special about it? Firstly, as you all know, during the pandemic, it is such an obligatory to wash our hands to prevent the spread of COVID-19. But have you all ever realized that the daily hand washing water consumption are actually gradually increasing? So I've come up with a solution to minimize and to assuage the daily water consumption, especially hand washing water consumption, by reusing the water from the previous hand washing process into water that could be used again to wash our hands. So the next slide. So here's the illustration of my product. So on the left side, you can see that there's the front view of the product. And on the middle part, there's the filter media that I'm using. I'm currently using graphite, activated carbon, zeolites, and silica sand. And so this is how it works. When we wash our hands, we'll wash our hands with a soap and a water, and then the wastewater from the hand washing process will then flow through a pipe of the wastewater. Once it flows through a pipe, it will fill the wastewater container until it's full. When it's full, the wastewater container will then go to the filter container to filter the water. So that's the media filter that I'm using. So this is the media filter that I'm using. Once it's been filtered, the clean water or the filtered water will then go upwards and then fill the next container of the clean water. So as you can see, there's two sample. So there's the dirty water or the wastewater sample that has been flowed through the pipe of the wastewater. So on the left part, you can see that there's the wastewater sample, and then on the right part, you can see that there's the clean water sample that has been filtered by the filter media. So once the clean water has been stored in the clean water container, the clean water will then flow upwards by the water pump, which can then be used again to wash our hands. So simply that's how my tool works. So by this tool, we could prevent the spread of COVID-19 by washing our hands frequently. In the same time, we are wisely saving our water as one of our natural resources. So thank you for your attention, and I'll be handling the next slide to the next panelist. Thank you.
Hey, Salma.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shifa Azanur Habibah, and now I am the third year student of Nutrition Department in Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung. And in this occasion, I'd like to share about my idea. I'd like to explain about my product that I call it Chicken Carol. Sorry. But before I explain about my product, here I want to tell you about one problem that still exists in Indonesia. But here I'm not going to tell you about COVID-19, but I want to tell you about another problem that is iron deficit or iron nutritional anemia that happened to girl adolescents in Indonesia. As we know that iron nutritional anemia is usually caused by inadequate food intake, especially for iron sources. So based on the data that I've got, based on the Indonesia Baseline Health Research in 2013, we can see here that the prevalence of anemic girl adolescents in 2013 was 37.1%, and it increased to 48.9% in 2018. So this is so very pathetic. Then, with this condition, then I came with my idea that I came with my product to make a food that rich in iron content. That I named it Chicken Carol. So, what is Chicken Carol? Chicken Carol is like a chicken roll, or we usually know it as a roulade that made from chicken. But in this formulation, I added chicken liver and also moringa leaves to the formulation. So why I use these two materials to the formulation? This is because both of chicken liver and moringa leaves contain high iron. Based on Indonesia Food Composition Database on 2017, the content of chicken liver is higher than its meat. It's like 10 times higher than chicken meat, and even it's higher than beef and its liver. And also for moringa leaves, it also have high iron content, 6 times higher than carrots and spinach. So that's why I use this two material to make this chicken carol. So chicken carol contain really high or an enough content of iron. And here we can see the nutritional value per one portion of chicken carol. And what I want to make an insight here is the iron content of this product in one portion. It's up to more than 5 milligrams per portion. And I have calculated it based on food composition database in 2017. And in according to this calculation, this product in one portion can fulfill up to 72.5% iron needs of adolescents per portion according to Indonesian recommended allowance in 2018. But the important point here is this is still a simple product. So we still need further research to make sure the content of iron, like we can using like a spectrophotometric method or other method to determine the real of iron content of this product proportion. And here we come to the last. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, we can make many breakthroughs in utilizing local resources, not only marine leaves or galanga or use to improve health and also to develop our community empowerment, not only for this new normal condition, but also for the rest of our life. So maybe I think that's all for me, and thank you very much for your full attention. And I will give it back to the master of the ceremony, Ms. Mira Mutiani. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for all the students. You have present 3 products, yeah. I hope, or we hope that the products not just stop here, but can continue to industrial, yeah, so it can be applied in our community. We hope that all of you, yeah, what you have done here can inspire the other students, yeah, have a bright future for you all. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. I think this is the end of our webinar. With the ending of the supplement section,
The series of the webinar programs are completed.
once again,
Thank you very much for all the speakers, our moderator, our discussion, and also the committee. Thank you very much for your attention and participation in this webinar. I hope you enjoy the program. This is the end for today. Have a nice afternoon and see you again in the next future. So I will read up Center of Excellence, PUI, Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung memang unit kecil. Bukan berarti kecil dari segala hal, tetap solid, karena
kerja tim adalah kunci dalam membangun Poltekkes Kemenkes Bandung juara dan mengudara. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Center of Excellence Bandung Health Polytechnic proudly present. Center of Excellence for Applied Science and Technology for Health Polytechnic is a research center in Health Polytechnic independently and in collaboration with other institutions that carry out applied health research activities. These are some of our products. Development strategies of Center of Excellence. First, institutional strengthening, such as decree, vision, mission, guidelines, roadmap, SOP, building and exhibition venue. Second, research and development and also application of research. They are new research or strengthening of existing research. Third, human resource development, including increasing research skills, production.
Okay. The speaker still here?
Oke, pamit ya. Terima kasih. Thank you so much.
Bapak, excuse me, we have a photo session first.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. How about the other speakers? Okay. I hope all the speakers still here. Now we are going to photo session. So, okay. We are gonna take a picture, please. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go count. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank
Once
you.
more.
Oh, once more.
Okay, once more, please. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Debbie, Mr.
Oke,
Nasir
salut
Mende.
untuk organizer. Salut juga untuk Kompas TV, keren harus seperti itu cara pemberitaan.
Skills, marketing skills, and also training. Center of Excellence, Bandung Health Polytechnic proudly present. Center of Excellence for Applied Science and Technology for Health Polytechnic is a research center in the Health Polytechnic independently and in collaboration with other institutions that carry out applied health research activities. These are some of our products. Development strategies of Center of Excellence. First, institutional strengthening, such as decree, vision, mission, guidelines, roadmap, SOP, building and exhibition venue. Second, research and development and also application of research. They are new research or strengthening of existing research. Third, human resource development, including increasing research skills, production skills, marketing skills, and also training seminars. Fourth, partnership network development, including research and marketing cooperation for domestic and international products. The last, dissemination of research for national, international seminar and product exhibition, and also COE special journal. Membership of Center of Excellence are Department of Medical Laboratory Technology, Department of Environmental Sanitation, Department of Nutrition, Department of Nursing, Department of Pharmacy, Department of Dental Health, Department of Midwifery, Department of Health Promotion, Bogor Nursing Study Program, Bogor Midwifery Study Program, and Karawang Midwifery Study Program. Center of Excellence is one of the organizations that focused on developing and research about science and technology and utilization the local material. Institutional characteristic, they are competitive advantage, strategic value, transfer of technology and knowledge, strong and sustainable institutions, become a national reference, world class, and being the pride of the nation. Field of development of Center of Excellence Bandung Health Polytechnic is to be the leading center for the utilization of local materials to improving health degree and community empowerment. The Center of Excellence does not only innovate the use of local products. The product will then be displayed at the exhibition to introduce the innovation product. The Center of Excellence, Bandung Health Polytechnic, actively exhibits the product in the international exhibition or symposium. The institutional synergy in higher education is to capable in the global competitiveness that involved institution, higher education and training, technology readiness, and innovation. In the future, the Center of Excellence is expected to be able to support a nation that is competitive in the world globally.
Okay, thank you for all. Speakers can leave the webinar. Thank you for watching us and see you in the next future. Bye.
Sukses ya, keren banget.